That's it. We're on.
We're on.
Hello.
This is
Hello
weird.
to everyone on twitch.tv, baby. Set, no,
Hello.
/ baby. Can't remember.
Hello,
yeah,
everyone.
hello, and welcome to the recording of our 200th episode of the Computer Game Show. We've not started recording the podcast yet. We thought we'd spend a little bit of time saying hello to you guys. If the audio is a little bit sketchy, don't worry. Actual podcast will sound as normal as it usually does.
Not as good as usual, just as normal.
As
Okay.
possible. We're going to, I'll warn you now, we're going to interact with the chat. We're barely going to interact with the chat in the recording. That's mainly because, we want to concentrate on the show and all that sort of thing. We don't want to constantly cut in with your comments. However, if we say something that is stupid, if we get something wrong, or if there's one of those situations where we're like, yeah, who did develop that game or whatever, then we would check the chat. So feel free to just chip in as and when. Also, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I fully intend to watch this back at some point on Twitch to read the comments afterwards. So if you want to, don't feel shy for putting comments on there. Yeah, that's about it. Does anyone else want to say anything before we get going?
Thank you and good night.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going. Just to acknowledge, yes, I was a bit louder. It should be better now, I think. But I'm not going to wait for anyone to tell me.
It does on purpose. It wants to be heard, baby.
I'm going to use the auto ducker, so whenever I speak, everyone else just goes.
Here's another thing as well. This is, I think, the first time we've recorded like this remotely where we can see each other, because when we record normally we're not able to see each other, so this is like going to be fun. I think it might see his reactions when he's getting the ump with Matt.
It'll make some things easier though, won't it? Because you can see the other person talking, and so then you know when you can interrupt, which is a lot easier than when.
Well, it's not with you, because your voice seems to be way
ahead
of your
it's
audio
all way
on my
out of sync.
screens.
I ain't doing anything about that. So
I'll let everyone. I'll do a confession now for you four and everyone watching on Twitch.
Oh shit!
This is gonna drastically affect how I podcast.
Why?
Go on.
What? Mostly because it's very hot in this room, so there's no top on. Obviously, that's against terms of service. Two, there's definitely one point every episode where I leave to go for a wee.
Okay.
Oh, we never know that.
That's fine. Just let us know.
No, but
next time you
now
on
I
the
can't.
podcast, do it during your what you've been playing segment. It would save us all a bit of trouble. Right.
I know I do it for yours.
Yeah, it's because I don't need babysitting. Right. Are we all ready to record?
Yeah, go on then. Let's get this over with.
This has made it onto the show a few times recently, the 3-2-1 Matt thing. Should we just talk about that quickly?
Can do.
That's because we all record locally and we need to sync up the audio. And I don't know why, but the first time we done one of these, we said we need to do 3-2-1 and it needs to be a short sound. I mean, usually it's clap or something else, but for some reason someone said, "Well, Matt, that's like a really easy sound to say." So we just go 3-2-1 Matt. Except for the one time where James tried to be different and went, "Mad."
Yeah.
And he went, I just thought it'd be funny. And we were like, yeah, it'd be funny, but that completely destroys the reason why we do it.
I enjoyed it. So
yeah, I was like, well, now James isn't in sync again. I think, did we try it with something else one week? And I was like, no, this is horrible. This doesn't work.
Yeah, I think so.
Matt, just to check, this hype train thing, was that you?
No, that's basically enough people. Like,
I see.
when enough people either sub or donate, after like say 2 or 3 goes a hype train level, there's different levels, and
okay, fair enough.
Different emote.
Normally we're not popular enough for me to see this sort of thing, so I'm just like, what's going on?
It's every week, baby. James Farley is in chat again. If you haven't seen one of our sort of previous live streams, James loves getting in the chat.
You're chatting, you're talking, so I'm just.
James, you're on the show.
Just amusing himself.
I'm dealing with it.
Yeah.
I'm dealing it while you're talking, so I don't have to interrupt you. You see.
I can't actually see the chat. What are they saying?
It's all just
they're mostly
nice
stuff.
stuff.
Slagging you off.
And just to
That's not
acknowledge, I can see we've got like a load of subs and stuff, which is amazing. We won't be giving people shout outs during the show because it'll sound weird to people who are just listening to the podcast after the fact. But yeah, much appreciated.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
Are we good?
okay.
You ready to go?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Okay. We'll hit record.
Is that all right, Matt?
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Matt.
Matt.
Okay. I'll just get the dock up and the it's up. I just
How
gotta
do you
get to
never have the
front of
dock up and ready to go?
It is up and ready to go. It's just
What confused
behind
me.
GarageBand right now.
Oh, okay.
Secondly,
Can everyone
you're
make
the
sure
one
their
that always
headphones are
goes-
down low? That's the question. That's my request.
you're the other one, right? You can't say that to me when you every week I go, "You ready, Matt? Yeah. Okay, ready. Hit record. No, hold on." Every fucking week.
Look, I just want to make sure everything's. Yeah, but
Have you
also,
just added in? Has someone just added in a new?
Yes,
I was gonna
because
say,
we've
has
we've just got a new Full Nels patron, and
Oh,
I was going to
shit.
point that out
Wow.
because the
Full
name
Nels.
looks like a joke. But okay.
Look, we've not even shown yet. James looks like he's ready to quit.
Unbelievable.
Come on,
yeah.
it's
Okay.
not-
Yeah. So one can never make sure the headphones are down low.
Yep.
Because and then it's
Done.
mostly James.
James.
Fuck
That's
off,
it.
Matt. Come
I'm just
on.
telling the truth. It is.
It's in AirPods. That's why.
I never
not
had Matt
saying
down
it's
as
wired.
one of those
AirPods,
people who's
got
just
wire.
like really
I'll tell
mean
you
and then
what,
AirPods
I'll
or whatever.
I'll take out the one which is closest to the microphone.
No,
I
just
won't
turn
use
it
it.
No,
down.
because then that's going to be even more.
yeah, it'd be
bleeding,
even
isn't it?
louder. It
It
needs to
won't,
be
'cause I'm gonna
stick
put
it
it
in
in
your
my
ear, then
pocket.
the audio can't get out as
Put
much.
it in your pocket. That's going to amplify it.
It's miles away.
Just plug it into this speaker.
It's fine. Just get on with it.
Just get like a
Get
big
on with it,
wad of
come on.
blue tack
See
and just
these?
in it.
James, these are like £7, right? They're in-earbud
Yeah, I've got a
headphones
pair of
from
those.
Sony. Well, use them then, you tit.
Because they're all the way upstairs, aren't they?
All the way
All the way
upstairs.
I mean, do you want me to?
It's
Am I
you.
going to have to go and get them?
I mean,
That is the first world problems.
Matt, do you want me to go and get them?
no. Just keep them down. It's all good. Anyway,
Well, I'm not
I'm
gonna
looking forward to seeing what James is gonna be like about 10:30.
Yeah, it's going well, this.
Sorry.
All right, okay, right, okay. Here we go. Episode 200, ladies and gentlemen.
How's this happened?
Hello and welcome. Fucking hell, who was that?
James, was it Sean?
No, it wasn't me.
No,
James.
because no. Matt said episode 200. How did that happen? And I went, it's weird, isn't it? And then you started your spiel day, and it didn't work.
I think I started my spiel before you said anything.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
But
no.
then you're about 8 hours behind us.
Oh,
You're
let's
like,
get on with it.
you've paused your
Everyone thought we
TiVo
were
and
professional,
just
and
hit
now
play.
this has happened.
Matt, are you
Just
looking
go,
forward to
No
the
one
edit
thought
on
we
this?
were professional.
It's going to be
Am I
great.
what?
You looking
Fucking-
forward to the edit on this one, Matt?
Yeah, this show's actually out a week on Tuesday.
Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with James Farley,
Hello.
Sean Bell,
Hello.
and Matt Murray.
Watch devs.
We'd like to start this episode by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, Full Nels, Anthony Oakinson, Full Tom S, Full Nels, Simon Nelson, Full Bloody Nels, Jack Oven, he's only gone Full Nels, and Moomin Biscuit, Full Bloody Nels. They've all gone Full Nels. You can do too if you go to www.patreon.com/TCGS. There are various different tiers there, and if you're a $10 tier, you get a little extra bonus now, don't you, Matt?
You do. We've so for $10 and above patrons, we do our monthly TCGS talks over, where we'll talk about all the E3 conferences or console reveals. And we did a live one on Twitch last month when we were supposed to do Rezzed, and we enjoyed it so much that we now decided that from now on all of our talks over will be live, and $10 patrons will be able to watch it live. It's like a little private YouTube stream. Everyone else will get to watch it obviously a month later. But yeah, the last one was a lot of fun. What did you do? Nintendo at E3 2004 when they announced the
2004 when I did the DS,
DS
and it was
reveal,
great because like during the boring bits of those conferences, and there's been a hell of a lot of them, we actually get to chat to the chat for a bit, and it's quite fun. So
And by chat with the chat, that means talking to James, because James goes in the chat and talks in the chat when he's supposed to be presenting.
I've never understood that. People say hi James or whatever in the chat, and then you see James in the chat replying hi James. Not only that, you hear him typing down the microphone because he is actually live. Like there's no need to go in the chat and talk to people.
I've tried to explain this. It's because you guys are talking at the same time, so I don't want to like break up the flow of what you're saying. It's just
fucking
easy,
unbelievable. Isn't it? Right, okay, so this is a special one this week. It's our 200th episode. That's it. We've made it to episode 200. Should we bother going to 201?
Nah.
Probably
no,
not.
Let's we just leave it.
That would be so good if we also announced that actually this is the end. We
this
always
had
a plan. Yeah. 200. We never told anyone 200 was the plan. Bang.
We opened an envelope that we wrote when we first started, saying don't go past 200.
It's got predictions like James probably would have hated it by now. Matt would have done too much. Oh yeah. Why can't we turn back time? That would be so good.
So we're doing this one live. We're live on Twitch right now as we record it, and there's people watching. And not only that, I can see you three because we're using video cameras for. I think this is the first time when we've done it remotely where we can actually see each other, right?
Yeah, just for podcasting, yeah.
There's chances that we could be ridiculing each other during the show based on how we look, because we've got a new option to attack. So let's see how this goes. Right, should we go into film, Matt? They all loved it last week, did they?
Absolutely. Oh, actually, no, David. We're going to start.
There was a bit of an issue, wasn't there?
David's got to address, but I will read out the tweet and then Dave will follow. Last week, we talked about me using a website called Turnip Exchange to allow other people to access my island on Animal Crossing with amazing turnip prices. Dave obviously wasn't happy with it and essentially slagged off and ripped off the website. Midge comes in saying, in further defense of turnip.exchange, there's an ad there, it's made by the guys at Warp World, your podcast brethren. So the Patreon is worthy. Warp World is great for retro speedrunning and Grand Pooh Bear fans. And yeah, Dave.
What, are you Grand Pooh Bear? Sorry, Sean just raised his hand there.
I'm not saying I am him. I'm saying he's like one of my, like, obviously I'm not like madly into speedrunning. I watch like Summer Games Done Quick and Awesome Games Done Quick and stuff. He's like one of my favourites. And like when Cammy did a thing for Database where he was like, he was going to start speedrunning, Grand Pooh Bear did like a really long interview with him and stuff. He's a really nice guy. I had no idea he was involved with this. So it was really fun to find out that we've really upset them on the show.
I mean, last week I was like, no, the patrons for other stuff. Like, you don't understand. But you're like, nah, $6,000 for ripping people off on turnips.
Yeah, and you went, oh, okay, then fine.
No,
so why didn't you?
I already said it's
Were you going to? Are you going to read? Are you going to read the email out?
No, I thought that was you. I thought you were controlling that.
No. We said we were going to read it out in the feedback. Are you not prepared on that one?
No, I think of course I'm prepared. I've got it here.
Just make a full and frank apology again, and let's just move on.
Hold on. Let's see. We got an email first.
Yeah, so I'll read the email. This is from Jakku at warp.world. Hail, Jakku from Warp World here, one of the creators of the Turnip Exchange site and host of the Warp World podcast. A few of your fans and fans of our podcast reached out to let us know your concerns with our site. I'll be honest, I probably shouldn't put a voice on, should I? I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed that it sounded like you reported on something you didn't completely understand. Firstly, the patron does not and will not ever let users skip the queue. All the perks are directly for the hosts of the island for the exact reasons you mentioned on the podcast. If someone creates a queue, we shouldn't be taking money from another user, putting in all the work on the host. Putting all the work on the host. The other concern comes from the amount raised via our Patreon. We've been creating tools for streamers and content creators for 5 years now and have been hosting podcasts for over 3 years. Our Patreon helps support all those projects and more. We've reached over 3.1 million visitors to Turnip Exchange since launching in early April, and users wanted to help support the site. This helps us continue to improve the site and build new exciting software for everyone. I wish we didn't have to meet like this, as it sounds like you're a bunch of great people, thanks, running an awesome podcast.
We do.
But as a podcast host myself, I tend to educate myself about a topic before discussing it, especially when it could influence users in a negative way if I'm wrong. Would love to share more details with you if you need them. Dave then responded, thanks for your email.
Send my response. What are you doing? I'm responding. Yeah. Sean just went blurry. Yeah, no, I mean, I hold my hands up. I apologise. I misunderstood what the Patreon was. Yeah, totally my fault. Just got the wrong end of the stick. I apologise to
educate yourself, shouldn't
people. Yeah, all right, Matt. I hold my hands up and apologise. So sorry about that. Turnip exchange for your turnip trading needs. All right.
And also the
Is
Warp
that it?
World's Patreon, they do loads of really cool and interesting tools for streamers and stuff.
There you go. Go and check that out.
Just saying.
Yep. No, sorry, I got it wrong. I misread it. I don't know where I got that idea from. I'm sure
I mean,
I read it on
I
the
said
website.
the
but when I went
opposite,
back
and you
read
like
it-
said no, I know better. I said no, they do loads of other stuff, and you're like, nah, it's bollocks. $6 grand for turnips.
Sorry, if you just rewound the podcast 10 minutes.
I'm saying you should
said
listen to
that
me more.
before,
Is what I'm saying.
And I
You should
said,
listen
well,
to me
next
more.
time, if you're so sure about it, be assertive and tell
I
me.
was.
Say,
I
no,
said it
definitely
last
know that."
week.
No,
I
you
said
didn't.
I
You back
wasn't.
down. I can.
No, because
Oh, you
you're like,
backed
nah,
down
I know
again.
better. I'm David Turner's. I know better.
You back down. You
I
back
got it
down.
right. This is not on me, right? Okay. Also, Neil Williams at Ream22 says, "Will David offer his resignation of his role as the main one?" I mean, that is 2 apologies in like 3 years, Dave.
I mean, you can't really.
Yeah, I know.
You can't resign from a role that it's chosen by the people, right?
No,
The title moves around
It's a made-up
as
thing
and when.
that's
Should
just
be
in
chosen by
David's head.
him. The people never
Okay.
chose it.
Well, for starters, they did. But right, okay. I'm
amazing.
resigning. I'm resigning as the main one of the computer game show as of this episode. Who's going to take this role? Because we
James.
need
No one will run it as a cooperative. That's
Yeah.
how.
No,
That's how it
no,
was when
come
you were
on.
off, mate.
Who
It
wants
was
this-
fine.
Who wants this role? Come.
I mean,
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
No, Dave. No one has to. This is it. This is what we learned when you were off. Is we just worked together and
Well,
it was fine.
I think the answer was we're all the
I don't know
main
if it
ones.
was fine. I don't know if it was fine. No, someone's got to be the main one. Someone's got to be the main one. Who's going to be the main one?
James.
Matt, are you going to be the main one? I
Yeah,
don't
go on
think
then,
you
yeah.
are.
Yeah, go on,
are
Matt.
you?
I
You
basically
do it.
am anyway.
James, you
I'm
do
basically
it.
the secret main one, so I'll take the full reign.
Okay, all right. Matt is now the main one. We will refer to Matt as the main one for the rest of as
show.
long as he wants it. And and let's see how he gets on with that. Let's see how he gets on with that. It's
Well,
not
I've
so
done
good
pretty
at the
well.
top, Matt.
Done pretty
When you
well for
step
3 years.
into
All
when
I've
you
got to
step
do
into-
is not
well, yeah,
say
but you
something
haven't been the
stupid
main
and have
one,
to
that's the
apologise
thing.
twice on a podcast.
Right, okay.
What's
right.
great?
Let's
What's
not
great?
Get into
What's-
That. Let's not get into that first apology, Matt, because we know why
Well,
I
that wasn't
apologise.
down to me and James. That was down to you being a twat. It's nothing to do with me and James.
No, it was down to you. I'm getting.
How was it? How was it down to us?
Oh, okay. All right. It's not for
No,
the show.
anyway,
I'll keep that anyway.
Basically, we're all main ones apart from David now. That's fine. We'll move on.
That's, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Read the next one, Matt. Go on.
Obviously, last week I talked about Super Metroid and the fact it's a shit game for twats.
Are you forgetting the week before you said you loved it because of the music? Is that getting
The music is good. The music is good.
And right, okay. It's a
I
shit game
think-
for twats, but it was alright.
The music.
Go on.
Shit. No, sorry, Athene. Matt Murray hates Super Metroid, loves Detroit. What's your point, Athene?
Well,
Simon
you fired
Mendes.
as the main one then, aren't you? Who else wants to be the main one?
I mean, that's a very good point. I think she's made there.
Well, yeah. What is the point? I like one game, don't like another one. James.
One game is universally loved, apart from by idiots. The other one is liked by idiots.
But we can be who we want to be. I'm not gonna just bow down because that's what everyone else says. Oh, IGN says that's good. Oh, IGN says that's rubbish. No, I do what I want. I'm my own man.
Big fan of IGN, Matt.
Is it your favourite website?
No.
Have you
Just
noticed
wondering.
he's been the main one for 3 minutes and now he's giving it
He's
"Oh,
crumbling."
Don't back down, mate. Oh, don't back down. 2 weeks ago he was going, yeah, I love Super Metroid, the music, and
Right.
also the music. He's a changed man.
Let's move on. Simon Meredith at that Simon Person on Twitter. At the risk of being ridiculed, I agree with Matt Murray about Metroid. I love Metroidvanias, but really couldn't get on board with Metroid. I thought the controls were a bloody nightmare, to be honest. High five, Simon. Here we go.
So another analog control user there.
Yeah, Rob Netsband Pigott. What a name? Muckbane on Twitter. I thought Matt got an unfair amount of stick about Super Metroid last week. He played it through, even though he didn't like it, and then James and Sean lay into him because he doesn't love it. He gave it a go, guys.
No, you're missing,
no,
Rob.
I
You're missing the
agree.
point. the point wasn't that he didn't like it. It was that he repeatedly insisted he did, even though he was clearly having a miserable time with it.
No, because I basically don't really like hate things, and so it's very genuinely. I'm not even like joking around. Though. Really like weird for me to not. I rarely say, "Oh, that's shit." I mean, when do I ever say that? So it's a bit of like a. Oh, okay, can I do it?
You were still defending Stadia last week.
I also didn't want to accept this being like this opinion based on the fact that I watched you play it, Matt. And one of the reasons you didn't like it is because you just didn't bother to learn how to use the controls. It's insane.
Why do you bother? They're shit, James. And also, I played it once a week. It's a bit tough. Every one of my streams, you do it once a week. You're like, oh, I've forgotten Sekiro controls. I played it for 60 hours. I've still forgotten. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, if I do that, everyone has a go all the time.
That's because... next tweet. Right, we also talk about like Splatoon and like because we talked about the latest like Splatoon challenge thing, whatever they're called.
Yeah,
Paul Shin, that's one there. Paul Shin at Paul Shin Draws. I hope we don't get Splatoon 3 before Mario Kart 9 on the Switch. That's a bloody good point.
That's such a good tweet. That is such a good tweet.
I mean, I don't think we are going to. I know because
we are not getting Mario Kart 9. That is not going to happen. Like on Switch, it absolutely will not happen. No, definitely not.
Why?
Okay. How many times have Nintendo released 2 Mario Kart games on one generation of Nintendo hardware?
They've released one Mario Kart game on
2 generations.
James.
Yeah, exactly, but they don't see it that way, do
It's
they?
a Wii
They
U
obviously
game.
see it as being the thing. Yeah, but they don't see it that way, do they?
Okay, so you're saying they will release 2 Splatoon games on one generation, but not
absolutely.
2 Mario Kart.
The thing is, though, like,
Why?
so just this week,
Because Mario Kart's got a really, really long tail, and people still buying it all the time.
Yeah.
Why release a new one?
So just this week, people were tweeting that Mario Kart 8 was on sale, and it was like 36 quid.
Yeah.
And that's still a sale price for Mario Kart 8. Like,
when people buy a Switch, they must say, "I'll buy a Switch, and obviously I get the Mario Kart game." It's like that must have like the biggest attach rate of any game.
But it's so shit that that's the Mario Kart game on the Switch.
Yeah, but
It's
Nintendo
a really
realised
good
they
Mario
can get away
Kart
with that.
game.
It's a
It is
fantastic
brilliant.
Mario Kart game, but it was fantastic on the Wii U.
But no one
Like,
bought the
it's-
Wii U, David.
I know, but I did.
why would they make a new one for me?
Well, this is it. Well, I don't give a fuck about anyone else. I've been playing this version of Mario Kart for how many years now? And it's kind of like, when we're getting 2 Splatoons in that time, are we? We're getting 2 Splatoons. Is it free? Did Splatoon come out after Mario Kart on the Wii U?
The first Splatoon did, yeah, but then obviously we had Splatoon 2 since then, so yeah.
So this would be the 3rd Splatoon to come out since the last Mario Kart game. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, yes, it would be. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I would bet serious money that there is not another Mario Kart game on this generation of Switch.
Let's do it.
Because listen, I'm not saying there will be. I'm saying I'm pissed off if there isn't. There's a difference there, James. I'm not arguing with in that regard. I would never bet on Nintendo because they're so fucking weird that you just don't. Yeah, there's no point, is there? It's just
The thing
stupid.
is, with this generation, I think for Switch is going to last a lot longer than, like, just because we're coming to in this generation in terms of PS4 and Xbox. I think Switch will just keep going, and there may be like incremental updates in their Switch Pro or whatever, but it will just keep going. And so, but even so, they don't need to do nothing. They could do some DLC, and everyone would be like, "Brilliant, 30 million people or whoever bought it."
We've had 2 Mario Maker games. 2 Mario Maker games.
Yeah, but
since the last
they're
one.
not guaranteed sellers. Mario Kart is a guaranteed seller regardless, so they don't need to do anything.
2 Zelda games.
We haven't had
Zelda
2
games?
Mario Maker games. We had one on the Wii U and one on the Switch.
Yeah, and what come out first, Mario Kart 8 or Mario Maker?
It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. They're completely
No, it
different
does,
kinds
because
of
that means
games.
there's been 2 since Mario Kart come out, you idiot. That's the point that I'm making. Of course it's not irrelevant. That's the whole point.
No, but Mario
Dude, we
Kart can't. They don't need to do another one because whatever one's on their current system, it will just sell like hotcakes. So.
Exactly.
You're just repeating what... Look, Matt, you're just repeating what James said. I'm having an argument with James here. 2 Mario Maker games have come out since the last Mario Kart game, and that's the
no
crime.
sense. He knows that I'm talking sense.
Hold on.
Let's not.
Matt,
Let's not.
let's move on.
Steve Shaw has got an email about Last of Us 2. Evening, firstly, thanks for all the content you've been producing. I've followed you guys since the early days of JoyPod, and I really think this is the best iteration to date. Hearing your low Hearing your low interest levels for Last of Us 2 took me by surprise and got me thinking. I suspect a lot of people might feel the same way, and I wonder if it's down to the superfluous nature of the game. The Last of Us had a devastating, understated, and open-ended conclusion which still lingers with me today, which doesn't feel like it warrants a part 2. I was disappointed when I saw the reveal, as I feel like it would cheapen the original by resolving the questions the ending posed. However, as I mulled it over, I came to the conclusion that Naughty Dog have a habit of delivering on their creative choices and deserve the benefit of the doubt. When I first saw the footage of The Last of Us 2, I thought the violence was excessive and the dark tone was overcooked, as if Naughty Dog were courting controversy and overcompensating in a bid to break away from Uncharted. I doubted that they could deliver writing with a gravitas and complexity to warrant the violence, but in my opinion at least, they absolutely did. Afterwards, when I heard they were going back to the world for Uncharted 4, especially after not so great Uncharted 3, I was disappointed. I felt they moved beyond Uncharted with The Last of Us, and it felt like a big step back. Yet for Uncharted 4, they delivered the most compelling and mature storytelling and gameplay in the series, validating the choice to revisit and say goodbye. So here we are again with Naughty Dog seemingly taking the most profitable route and telling a story that doesn't need to be told. A big part of me really doesn't want to know what happens to Ellie and Joel beyond the closing scene in The Last of Us. Not to mention the tone of part 2, it seems excessively dark again, and the trailer's gratuitously masochistic. That's fine. Again, yeah, that's fine. But given the track record for delivering on their decisions, I have to assume. Yeah, but yeah, right. But given the track record for delivering on their decisions, I have to assume Druckmann and Co have found a story that they think is worth telling. I feel a bit queasy about finding out, and I'm. James, you're in the fucking dock and I'm trying to read. Dreading getting spoiled in the meantime. Perhaps after this, they could all surprise us to figure out how to make great games while treating their staff like actual human beings. Just a thought, love towards Steve. I mean, my thoughts on that, I was exactly the same. Like, I love Last of Us. I was like, you know, and the ending was fantastic. And I thought, okay, they don't need to another one. Why do that? Just you know, it's so rare for amazing games to just have one game and that's it. Like amazing films we've all seen, there wasn't a sequel, there wasn't a fucking plan for like, you know, a trilogy of movies. It was just one amazing film. And in this case, so how good would it be? One massive budget, amazing game, in my opinion. So when they announced second, I was like, oh, don't. And like, I know Dave, you keep saying things like, well, just because they release another one isn't going to like taint the first one. And I'm absolutely of the other mind. I'm like, don't taint my memory of the franchise.
Is it a bit like David Brent, Life on the Road, Matt?
Well, exactly that, basically.
Well, no, I just don't think of that. I still watch The Office and love it, but like, well, my point is this, right? You can't control it. You can't control it. If they're going to make another one, they're going to make another one. It's coming out. You've just got to pray that it's good. I mean, you know, when I was concerned about Red Dead Redemption 2, and that went on to be one of my favourite games of all time. You've got, you know, The Last of Us, Before the Storm. I was worried about that, and yeah, that wasn't perfect.
I think me Life is Strange, David.
Gave it some. Sorry, yeah. What did I say?
The Last of Us.
Did I really? Life is Strange Before the Storm. That was concerning, but actually went on to be pretty decent apart from that last episode. And you know, there's various different games where you think, is this needed? I mean, you look at the Toy Story films, everyone that comes out. Do we need to? Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's really good.
I mean, Toy Story 4 was brilliant. I'm like, the trilogy is perfect. Let's not add, but 4 was brilliant.
And I think there's very few studios that you can look at and say, actually, I can pull this off. And I think Naughty Dog's one of them. I mean, Uncharted 4, you're looking at that thinking, should they be going back to those characters again? And Uncharted 4 is fantastic. So,
it really is,
yeah, you've got to at some point just trust, and that's all you can do because you can't stop it being made. So let's just see what
in terms of the dark
out
tone. I think Naughty Dog are one of the very few studios that I trust that they can do dark tone well. I mean, like, if other studios like take David Cage, I'm like, oh, it's gonna. I mean, I like his games, but like, oh Jesus, it's gonna end in tears.
He's so good.
It's gonna end in tears, or like, you know, or if anything related like Cliffy B. I was like, oh, don't do dark tones, you're gonna fuck it. But you know, I trust Naughty Dog that they will be able to do things in a good way. And yeah, I it doesn't need a sequel, but also I guess part of me thinks, well, would they only do a sequel? Forgetting the money size, probably just money. But would they only do the sequel if they knew they could tell a compelling story they felt like it was worth?
It's the money.
another.
They'll always say that, no matter what.
It is the money, yeah.
They'll always say, yeah, no, we found a story that we really want, but they got paid to make up a story that they really want to tell. That's what that is. As much as they may even feel that that's the case, it's down to them getting a lot of money for producing a second one. So let's see what happens. I mean, you have no control over it. So just got to deal with it.
That's just, is that what we're running with, is it? They'll just do whatever they want anyway.
John. What can you do? That's the reality of it, isn't it? Just accept it.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, you just hope that these things are like pitch based, right? Like if they're going to go back to Uncharted or Last of Us or whatever, it's got to be that someone's walked into a room and gone, I've got a fucking good idea that's worth going back for, and everyone's got to agree to that. But you never know, do you? You don't know what the culture is. You don't know how these decisions are made. So
no, but Naughty Dog haven't made a shit game in a long time.
True.
So you got to think.
Uncharted 3, I would say, was probably their worst.
But but it's not a shit
games,
game. It's just compared to like 2 and compared to 2.
It was pretty.
Uncharted 3 is not a shit game.
No, it was. I would argue that
compared
is
to shit games. Actual shit games.
I mean, like if you're talking about actual shit games, things like Detroit and things like that. That's not games.
No, you said that it was okay.
Yeah, Detroit, James. You're going back on it. You at times said, yeah, it's good.
You got me there, Dave. You got me there.
Zing.
Yeah, absolutely did.
Okay. Let's get on to the next bit of feedback.
Alex, we're going to end this actually. Alex at Alex79UK. What prediction James is not going to like Horizon Zero Dawn? I don't know if it'll be spoilery or Colour's opinion going in if I put reasons, so I'm not going to. But just calling it now, he won't like the game. James, thoughts?
Well, I'm definitely going to give it a try. I mean, I was going to start it.
A try? He's already on the way. He's already on the way.
He's not committing, yeah.
I was going to try it this weekend, and then for some reason I thought I might try it because there was that Killzone game that came out for PS4.
The launch title.
Yeah. I thought I'm going to just give that a go.
I mean, I had a PS4 day one. I was like, oh, this is a game. And I liked it. It's probably shit now.
I played it for
I genuinely thought the combat was decent.
I played it for about 2 hours, and it's not very good, is it? It's really not very good.
Right. I think it's right.
Yeah,
well, back
the
then
last level was terrible. But...
Yeah, the last level was an absolute shocker. But other than that, I think it was pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. It was so weird. It was like a concept that they tried to knock up and then thought, we need another level. There's not enough. Don't look good on the back.
I enjoyed that. I mean, surely that's not the end for Killzone. Who did Killzone again? Okay, this is embarrassing, but who did?
It's Guerrilla.
It's Guerrilla. And obviously they're doing Horizon. Okay, well maybe it's a separate team.
Yeah.
That's it for feedback. Is at Computer Game Pod if you want to tweet us, or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com.
Time for the news. James Farley.
There is news. Right.
Good
to know.
Now,
right.
Tick.
It's quite. I don't know. So I'd say it's average news this week, which is a shame because I know this is.
You don't have to review the news before you read it.
Tell us
That's not part of the news, is it? You don't have to review it.
I know, but I also have to justify the choices I've made in the selection. Otherwise, you have to go.
James, the choices you made are what was on the front page of Eurogamer.
The only way you have to justify. The only way you have to.
Eurogamer. And
the only way you have to justify this is hard work because James is talking at a different rate of his video, and it is so hard to decide when he's finished talking. The only way you're going to defend and justify what news you've picked is like if you've done a bad job. So maybe do a good job, and you wouldn't have to justify it. You've thought about it that way.
You
never know. You don't. Okay, even after all these episodes, I'm never entirely sure how people are going to react to things. So,
Sean, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Are you entirely sure how we're going to react when you see what news that James has picked? Because I am.
I mean, not to lift the curtain too far back, but you do send these all to us on WhatsApp earlier, James, and we all go, yeah, that's fine.
No, to be fair, we do hold back. Every time I see a shit one on there, I'm like, I'm going to fucking tear it.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly that you're going to do that, Dave. That's the thing. And also,
if you know exactly that I'm going to do this, then you do know what our reaction's going to be like.
No. I know.
I've got you. Objection.
You're the worst because you don't even respond when I put it in the group. Like, so I
You're
don't
the
know what
worst.
you're
You're the
thinking
worst
about.
because you put down shit news, mate. Go on, let's
Could
get
we
going.
get on the news?
Okay, so it turns out that hackers may be behind the Last of Us 2 leaks.
Mm.
And this is because it was Drayton Schreier, who's now at Bloomberg, has reported that he's talked to people with what he's calling direct knowledge of the incident. It's a bit like not Theresa May, like Laura Kuenssberg with her like government sources or whatever. It's like pretty vague, but it's like there. So he said there
Yeah,
was
but you can trust Schreier, can't you?
Yeah, more than Kuenssberg.
Okay,
So
that
he
was
says
the
there's-
implication.
Yeah, I know. Just making it clear, Matt.
Okay, thank you. Everyone clear? Is everyone clear? Okay, good.
Fucking
Are you
hell!
just gonna
Come
stop
on,
being a prick? Honestly, this is like show 200. You just let me read it rather than just being a prick.
Matt.
Yeah, sure.
Matt, do you want to follow up? Matt, do you want to follow up?
No,
Yep.
James doing a great job. Let's move on.
James Farley from the BBC.
So anyway, a security vulnerability opened the back door into Naughty Dog servers, and this intimated that there was like spoiler footage from an early build that then they stole and then did this with. And so, more importantly, is that there was this whole thing about apparently it was like a disgruntled like contractor or something. This is apparently not true at all, and they were like very clear to say that Naughty Dog had actually paid like extended pay and healthcare benefits for contractors because of COVID and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sony also confirmed that none of the individuals like identified as responsible were connected with Sony or Naughty Dog. So they're just saying it's like an outside hack or whatever to that did this. So there you go.
I suppose that's that makes the story really, really sad because
Pricks, isn't it?
I suppose there's part of you that kind of thinks maybe there's some sort of moral issue here, but if there isn't, and it is just someone's hacked in to spoil it for everyone, then wow, what
Yeah,
dick
it's just
move.
a security issue. That's the issue. Yeah.
Okay.
does a bit.
Next story.
Have you
is
still
that-
avoided it? Have you avoided it all yet, Matt? Are you still avoiding it?
Well, I've got a Twitch chat open next to me. I'm not. I'm gonna. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Okay.
So, Res has now been officially cancelled as well for this year, and
no
it's
way.
Gutting, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean,
it's-
we all knew this was coming. I was still gutted just to see it written down. Just because, I mean, like, most of my friends live far away anyway, so I don't tend to see them that often, but this is one of the few landmark events each year. So it's just like, weirdly, this is what made it really sink in that I am not seeing anyone for a long time. So,
Oh god, yeah, it's mad. It sucks. It was, although we weren't a big part of Res was a big part of us, really. It's where we did our first live show. It's where we got to meet a lot of our listeners, and it become a big thing for us. Something to look forward to every year. And again, we'd built up our live show to the point where we would never have lived up to the hype. With yo-yo competitions, a licky boom boom down, and none of those things are going to happen. So, well, they've postponed those. We'll put a pin in it. But it's absolutely gutting, and I feel for the people that have been working on that all year round. Only for
this is it. It's like it's gotten enough for us, but imagine if your entire job was putting this together and it's just done, like not happening this year.
Yeah.
Really
And
shit.
obviously, they say EGX is still scheduled to run in September.
For fuck's sake.
17 to 20. Well, we're
Right, James.
discussing it, James. But basically, I can't see that happening. Even if we're back
sorry,
to
what
sort-
happened there?
Well, it's just
James was
again
annoyed
Matt,
'cause I was
Matt
discussing the
reading the
story.
news before I get the chance to.
James, you should-
He's the
should have read
main
it-
one now, mate.
should have
He's
read
the
it at the
main
beginning,
one, and you
James.
let him take
I'm
that.
discussing the
You let him
story.
take it.
Well, anyway, yeah, it says that EGX obviously is scheduled to run 17th September to 20th. Even if we're allowed out by then, there will still be sort of big social distancing, so I can't see it happening. Frankly.
Cool. All right.
Great
Let's see what
conversation,
happens. I mean, the thing is, you could say that, Matt, but we literally don't know. Like it's
No,
Yeah,
but,
this is it, isn't it?
I think social distancing is going to last for ages, even when when lockdown ends.
Yeah, so do I. So do I.
can't.
But as it stands, EGX is still going ahead.
Yeah, see everyone there.
And until that point, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll be
Buy
following
your
it,
tickets
certainly.
now. Don't buy your tickets now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, all the Res tickets have been upgraded to allow entry to EGX, but you can also get a full refund as well if you fancy. So that's good.
Someone
okay.
turned around in our Discord and said that would give me enough to buy. I can't remember what game it was. It was something like Mario Maker or something like that. It was like, so I might just do that. Oh no, it was Streets of Rage. That's right. They were saying, well, I could buy Streets of Rage, which ironically was a game that was playable at Res, wasn't it? So, you turned it into a full game for yourself. How about that?
Yeah.
Some money works.
So Jeff Keighley has announced a 4-month all-digital Summer Games Fest. I hate that word.
Oh my God, he's going to be live streaming for 4 months.
That's right. Starting in May, he's going to be doing that. So apparently the event's going to have breaking news, in-game events, and free playable content from the likes of CG Projekt Red, Sony, Microsoft, Riot Games, Digital Extremes, that's right, and Valve. And then there's also like a whole bunch of other publishers. I'm not going to read that; it's boring. But it says here programming including publisher-specific events. So that sounds like the shows, doesn't it? Like they did at E3, keynotes kind of thing. They're going to be streamed via Facebook, Mixer, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
Twitcher,
And but the most exciting thing is that Keighley is going to host pre and post show streams for certain flagship events. So that'll be good. And there's also going to be like additional like playable like demos and game trials and stuff like that you can play like during the event. And it's going to tie in with Steam's Game Festival as well that's happening in the summer. So is that everything, Matt?
Two things amuse me about this. One, Jeff Keighley being like, guys, think I'm going to skip E3 this year. Well, now we know why. And also the fact that it's over like 4 months. So does that not, like, to me, that sounds like he went, right, we're going to do a thing in June. We're going to get everyone to like do loads of events and like, around the same time. It's going to be really good. And then when like Activision went, well, no, we're announcing something in May. So we're doing that in May. You can call it one of your events. If you want. And then someone else went, well, we're doing a thing in August. We're not going to be ready till August. And he went, oh, okay, we'll just like move it around.
It's either that or he sat at home and he was thinking, I think I could do 4 months of me. I think the internet could do with 4 months of me. But what about 5 months? No, that's too arrogant. 3 months? No, they want more. 4 just seems right. And we've never seen him eat or sleep, have we? So maybe it will be 4 months of him on Twitch. It'll get to day 48 and he'll be like, I don't know. There's I'm sure that it's just him ringing up contacts going, have you got something to announce? No? Okay.
Can I call Hideo Kojima again?
Yeah, I mean, by then he'll be talking to Zynga, like, oh, there's a new Zynga update.
So I can't say that I'm particularly excited about this because I don't really
because you're not particularly excited about anything.
No, you misunderstand, right? I don't really like Jeff Keighley's brand of Razzmatazz. I don't like it.
Well, there's the episode title, guys. Spoilers.
What that is exactly. Because I would
he wears a shirt.
I would not describe it as Razzmatazz.
He puts lights up and he has a stage and he wears a shirt. He smiles.
He has legs.
No, it's all the advertising tie-ins and the whooping and all that sort of stuff.
It was still streamed. It's fine. There'll be no whooping.
He's not whooping. He's presenting unlike you in the Twitch chat.
The only whooping, James, will be from me and Matt when we stream these live, and then from Dave when we report to him afterwards what happened.
Our last Talktover was brilliant because James has always gone, oh, it's changed so much. All this whooping now is destroying it. We saw the 2004 E3 conference. There was whooping in that. So it's all just... It's the classic, my era was better. He's at that stage of his life now. All their music is noise, and they're into their Fortnite, and
Jeff Keighley is just a presenter. You might be annoyed at the fact he might be everywhere, or you don't like his face or his style of presenting, but he doesn't do the whooping, and he needs to put money on the table.
Can't help it.
Sponsorship gigs is not outside.
His job title isn't Jeff Keighley, producer of Razzmatazz. It's not an official title.
Jeff Keighley can't help it, right? If he just speaks and people fucking love it. They just start getting out of control. Like, it's not his fault. It's just the thing that happens. It's just
great, man.
Wherever he goes, people are going, Razzmatazz, Razzmatazz, Razzmatazz. Go on, James. James Farley, he's muted himself. You get to see what happens when he mutes himself now.
No, it's just that he creates the environment for like the whooping, and that's why I don't like it.
No, he hasn't created
No,
any environment for whooping.
The gamers do that. He just presents.
Could you imagine him walking into a stadium, licking his finger, holding it up to the air, and going, "It's not quite the whooping environment yet. If you just raise the humidity, just a fraction more, we will be in the whoop environment."
It's just that, and it's all the crass advertisements, and it's just awful. I just hate
Again,
it.
he's not in charge of that.
You're talking like half 40-year-old man who's desperate to claim his generation as the best, and half 12-year-old anarchist wannabe, like rolled into one.
Unbelievable.
I mean, yeah,
James,
like obviously, so if there's going to be like, if there's going to be tons of events from this, they're not all going to be amazing, but presumably some cool stuff will come out of it. I can't oppose it existing. You know, some of it is going to be cool, I imagine. So why not?
That's the thing. I'm not opposing it existing.
Right.
I just don't like it.
You just hate Jeff Keighley. You're just opposing Jeff Keighley existing. It's not the event. It's the man.
What do you think of the Razzmatazz, John?
That's all right. I think it's an acceptable
Razzmatazz.
level of Razzmatazz. I think it's spot on. It's perfectly on message. I think it's good.
I guess my
Next
issue with
news
this is
story.
my issue. I'm still talking, Dave. My issue with this actually is the fact it's spread over so long. It sort of just really dilutes what it is. I mean, Sean's totally right. It's because people said we've got something in June or August. But if this was like 2 weeks, I'm like, oh wow, some Game Pass, it's a thing. As it is like people are gonna just dip. You know, people are gonna be bored of it, dip out. Oh, is that a Game Pass thing? Or
By the end of month 2, it's going to be like,
Exactly,
is this still going? Okay.
Yeah. James, have you got any more E3 centric news? Because in your list.
So also, Nintendo have delayed their traditional like E3 directs. That's not going to happen now. So they've said that this has been pushed back because of complications, obviously to do with the coronavirus pandemic. Currently, they've told publishers set to reveal games during the showcase that they need more development time on their first party games.
Okay.
But now get the windy pops out your system, or
I'm fine.
I thought he was holding in a
No,
bit of
sure.
sick. I was very like.
Can I reveal something?
I'm very hot
James,
at the
I
moment.
wanted to stream on the weekend, but obviously my computer fell apart. We didn't have to do it. I couldn't do it. James went. I think you might have asked Chen to get some beer for the stream because we're going to drink during our Streets of Rage 4 stream. And he got some Hop House, but they were the massive bottles, and he's got 8 of them. So I'm not sure if James is going to last the entire show.
It'll be fine.
James, who once during when everyone was panic buying, said to us, right, I need some help. They've got no beer here. They've only got a small range of beer.
Oh, God,
Can you help me choose which beer to get? And then sent us a photo of shelves filled with beer. And he said, yeah, but it's not Budweiser. And we said, well, there are other beers, mate. You can. Was that you, James?
No, it was James. Yeah.
While we're all being horrible to James,
also.
I can't help but notice, James, on the shelf next to you, you've got a photo of your wife and child next to a copy of Animal Crossing. Is that?
That's amazing. Environmental storytelling.
That is not my fault. This is something that my made. She made this.
All right, fine.
It's like a little wooden thing.
Oh, okay, no, that's cool.
He bought that. He bought it.
10 quid off eBay.
He bought it.
No, fair enough. That's all right.
Right.
It's not
okay. So Nintendo. I mean, it's barely news, really, is it? I mean, we're going to see a lot of this stuff where things are just different this year because of what's going on. So, fully expect stuff like that without looking too much into it. Next news story, James.
I mean, people don't have to stick to June. I mean, like people said, June was a good date because that gave them time to
Every
create
time.
stuff.
I know.
Oh, we're having a discussion, are we not?
We finished.
Wait, this is it, right?
No, David's finished. Okay, whatever. What?
But I'm the fucking host, Matt. My whole job is to move the show along. If you keep interrupting and saying, no, I want to repeat something you guys have already said, then it's going to slow the pace down. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it bouncy.
James, are you going to talk about the EA thing or not?
No, come on. The EA thing was rubbish.
He's announcing your news story every time.
No, he's not because it.
I know, because I'm not talking, Matt. I'm not talking about EA, because all it was a tweet saying we're doing a conference. It's like, great, okay.
But you've just done a
Sorry,
news
yeah.
story about they're saying they're not doing a conference.
Yeah, but there was
What's
detail
making
about
news
it.
here?
There was detail about the Nintendo one. There was no detail in that EA tweet.
No, James. Like, the detail was Nintendo says they're not doing one. Okay, that's news. Whereas EA saying we're doing one on this date. Here's what we're showing. That's not news, apparently.
No, because Nintendo have also said to other publishers they can go on and they can do their own shows if they want, like now. So there's a bit more there than there is for the EA one.
What? So
Okay, let's get on to
something-
the next news story.
twat.
Let's get on to the news story. Come on, James.
Okay, so Microsoft are also going to show Series X games this week. So on Thursday this week, that'll be after this comes out, hopefully. They're going to be showing like some games at 4:00, like UK time. Now, there was some speculation about what this was going to be and what it was going to entail, because obviously people are hoping for like Halo and things like that. You know, to see what some of these studios have been making. It turns out they're not going to be doing that because
It's all third party, isn't it?
yeah, it's all just third party stuff. But
Yeah.
they said that, like, it says their internal studios are going to do something like big, like they said they've got like big summer plans, and
Okay.
yeah, the first party stuff's all going to come there. So I guess it's just going to be whatever we're going to see on Thursday is going to be like whatever's going to be cross platform over, that's coming in the next.
We have seen some Xbox Series X screenshots, though, haven't we, this week?
the
was
Assassin's
it a Lord
Creed
of the
stuff.
Rings game?
Yeah, that
No,
came
it's
out
a
today,
Lord of
yeah.
the Rings game.
Oh right.
Yeah, the Gollum
Have
game.
you not
yeah.
seen them?
No,
Screenshots,
missed
they're
this.
the Xbox 360 ones.
If I was Microsoft,
360.
I'd be ringing up that Lord of the Rings game and saying, please don't say these are Xbox One Series X games,
Not
because
bad.
they look fucking shit. yeah. And of course, it's not Microsoft's fault. It's
No.
obviously the look of the game. It just looks crap. It's got nothing to do with how powerful that console is. But my word, it did not look good. And to say this is what it looks like on Xbox Series X, you'd be like, what the fuck? Okay, all right, then. Let's get to the next one.
Okay, so there's also been a massive, in inverted commas, Nintendo leak, which reveals details about the Wii generation. So the news for this came from like Resetera, and it's like, I'll read you what it says here. It says, as you may be aware, in the last few weeks in 4chan, multiple Nintendo-related old things have been leaking. I love that, old things.
they do tend to do that, old things. Yeah.
and source code, then the most recent 3DS debug ROMs, then keys for all the consoles up into the DSi, and now the biggest of them all, the full source code, design files, documentation, and pretty much everything used to create the Revolution, aka the Wii. So how this happened was it seems that the servers, because Nintendo were using Broadon, like some company, and these servers were apparently hacked, and they got all of the design specifications and everything out of it. And so the same post goes on to say, like, the biggest and craziest thing about the leak are the data sheets. It's got like block diagrams and like files for like every component that the machine uses. And there was also a bunch of like N64 demos that were like supposedly used to like test hardware and stuff like that. So I mean, I think for this, I mean, this is the kind of thing where it's like, I'm sure that like the modding community and all that will be delighted about this, because it's like you can start to like,
Yeah, it'd be really good for emulation tools and stuff. But it's a weird piece of news because it could be huge, but obviously it's not like it's not like something's leaked that like we didn't already know about. It's just lots of really helpful technical information for people working on like emulation stuff. Or I think there's some footage has come out of like weird little demos and tests and stuff, haven't they? Which is sort of interesting. But it's one of those ones we don't really know the effect this has for a while, and Lord knows I'm not going to go delving around 4chan to see what they've uncovered for now. So
I saw the word 4chan, you're like, oh, no,
yeah.
I'll talk about this. It's
So
it's
we won't see the effects of it for a number of years, but it's you've got to be gutted if you're at Nintendo and they've got hold of that information, because the potential of what they could do for it is actually quite damaging, isn't it?
How do you mean? What, in terms of what, security and stuff?
In terms of piracy, if you've got hold of emulation like that, and
but it's only stuff up to the Wii, so it's not like anything
you're telling
really
me that
current.
If you could get like a device that played loads of GameCube games, like handheld or plugged into the TV, you wouldn't do that.
I think a lot of them
'Cause
can. I don't know where GameCube emulation is up to, but there's plenty of handhelds
Yeah,
now
I
that
don't think it's that popular, is it? Is that widely? I don't know. I don't know is the answer, but you know, it can't be good for them.
I don't think they're probably losing a lot of sleep over this, but it's probably just like a nuisance. You know, it's just like because you know how much they care like about like their, you know, about their property and all that kind of thing. So maybe that, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Finally, I got a final. Okay, so I've got a Stadia story.
Yay!
There were two Stadia stories. There's one that broke just before we started recording. A new game that's coming to Stadia by the name of Monopoly. And,
shit! What?
Classic wet.
Yeah, so Monopoly is coming.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I know. It's a big deal.
The Monopoly.
They've got. I mean, I don't believe it's exclusive rights to the game, but they've got Monopoly, so that's pretty good.
Shit!
Wow.
The other thing that happens is it looks like text messaging is coming to Stadia.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Let's go.
But literally SMS. Is this going to be?
160 characters. That's it.
So it's like
10p ago.
The latest update to Google's streaming platform Stadia includes references to a number of key social features. There was no Google Plus, unfortunately, on there, but these are what they're saying. It says, if accurate, this means Stadia players will finally be able to communicate via the Stadia app on their smart devices without having to use the system's built-in oral voice chat. The fun keeps coming. I mean, I added that, but yeah, there's.
That's good. That should be the new slogan.
Website before internet like messaging on your phones was the thing. There was a website that you could go to and send one free SMS message to any mobile phone number.
Oh god, yeah.
Every like 10 minutes or whatever. I mean, you don't think of it now, but there was definitely someone reading all them. Think of it back then.
Yeah, good point. There's no privacy
assurance.
assurance.
The number in and send, but like you think now, you're just thinking, yeah, all right, I'm going to put an SMS message into this private server to send to a friend. Fucking hell!
Did
with
I?
Their number.
I don't think this was last week, but I had a go on Stadia. Did I mention this?
Yeah, you did. You mentioned it in the WhatsApp.
Yeah. So I played a bit of Thumper, thinking, you know, I'll just go in at the deep end, something that's like entirely rhythm based and needs, you know, quick response times. This will be shit. It was fine. The response time was like that element of it was really impressive. I still don't think I really care about Stadia, generally speaking, but in terms of the latency, like, it's not going to be good enough for fighting games or, you know, whatever, like competitive FPS, probably not either. But the fact that it worked for quite a precise rhythm game, I thought was really impressive.
See, this is what's interesting, because it's like, the thing is Stadia does work. Like, generally, it does work for a lot of stuff. That's not the problem with it, though. The problem is it doesn't have any games.
No, but it's just fascinating that, like, my main concern with it was that latency stuff, whereas actually that's not really a problem. It's just everything else that fucked up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, I've been playing, because I've been playing quite a few things on PlayStation Now recently.
Oh, yeah.
And that also generally works. The best thing about PlayStation Now is my PlayStation doesn't make any sound anymore when I'm playing on it. Streaming it, no sound. It's that's one of the advantage.
Wow, it's a touch.
Yeah.
Does it glitch? Does it glitch a bit, like here and there, PlayStation Now? Because when I used it, it was pretty glitchy. Like I wouldn't say like crazily so. Probably on par with GeForce now.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, actually, not very much. Like recently, I've found it really depends on what you're playing, though. Like when I was playing first-person shooters, I found have been the ones that have been the least like good, as it were, for playing on like PS Now. But other stuff, which is like slower paced or whatever, is fine. It's been okay. And because they recently had an offer where it was like 35 quid for a year, and I was like, I might try it for that. It's not bad, you know. And the thing is, I mean, it doesn't look good next to Game Pass in that there's nowhere near like the.
But they're trying, aren't they? They're starting to put up a fight now. They're putting games on there that Microsoft will clearly want on their service. So you know,
I mean,
they're giving it a go.
The thing is I think there's more games on PlayStation Now than there is on Game Pass, but the quality is not there. Like there's a couple of like there's some really good stuff on there. You've got like all the Metal Gear games. You've got like Uncharted and stuff like that. You've got Control, you know. But then also there's a lot of stuff which is just like I'm never going to play any of this stuff because it looks terrible, you know. Whereas like if you look at Game Pass, they've got like the tentpole like really good like Microsoft releases, and then a lot of there is a lot of stuff on there that's like, well, they call it like AA or whatever games, but they're better than the stuff that you get on PlayStation now generally.
I mean, yeah, they're getting Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah,
That's a big coup for them, I think. Although GTA 5's being removed.
yeah,
Yeah, which
get
is a
put
shame
Red
because
Dead
we were
Redemption 2 on there.
talking about streaming some heists, weren't we? But that
Yeah.
was
I
mean,
on
I
the
own it
understanding that we
anyway.
were all going to.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it. Imagine not owning GTA at this point.
Oh, I've got it. I've got it on
Yeah.
PS4, haven't I? Like a fucking idiot.
Sell it. Yeah, no,
Shame.
Can't it's a digital
PS5,
copy, mate.
Get another one.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like everyone who's been playing on Game Pass and suddenly leaves are like, well, I'll buy it now. Like GTA sales are through the roof, aren't they, this month?
But
Yeah,
it always
yeah,
is. It's
true.
like it stays in the charts even
Through
now. It's
another
fucking
roof.
mad.
It's a good game.
It is a good game.
Right, is that it for the news?
yeah. I mean, one last thing. I mean, what's it called? Game Pass is doing
So
really
no,
well. I
then.
mean, they've got like 10 million subscribers now, which is really impressive. It's doing very
So
well.
it's also 9 million more than Stadia, isn't it?
No need for that. Sure.
You have to actually
Yeah,
pay for Game Pass.
Yeah,
you know what
I mean,
else
10
I got?
million is amazing, but
the news thing on the Nintendo Switch that no one ever looks at. Pointed out the Asphalt 9 is up to 4 million players, so that's 3 million more than every Stadia.
again, that's not.
Maybe they should get that. Maybe they should get that on Stadia.
That's the point.
Smash it.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
only does
Sorry,
it
I was
have
like,
They've got Monopoly now, haven't they? It's
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Bit of
they've
monops.
got Monopoly. Think of how many
10,
people play Monopoly.
10
mate.
million Game Pass user, subscribers is amazing. But I mean, and obviously again, make lots of money from that. But I love to know a percentage of people that got in on the £1 deal.
It's
Like-
it's an interesting one, isn't it?
It
Because
must be ridiculous, but some people will. I assume just you're paying £9 a month and not even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what
About
makes
the
you think
deals?
it's ridiculous?
As in like there's percentage of people that use a deal because there's. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had it pretty much since I got my X, and I've never paid full price once. There's always been deals, and you can also like do multiple deals even if you've already done the deal once. It's not like once you've
Okay,
done one.
so
deal.
what makes you think you're in the majority?
Well, I'm saying people who are like on the internet and savvy enough. I think a vast majority of them wouldn't have had to pay the full amount.
Yeah, I don't know if that is the majority. And I mean, doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, if you're built into that, when it comes to the end of it,
Oh, yeah,
next year
definitely.
or the year after, probably going to carry on paying it, aren't you?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and
It's just
potentially
interesting,
people
like,
are
'cause-
well, get an Xbox now because I've got loads of games. Like,
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, so I said next console generation. If I do, I've sort of toyed with the idea of maybe just upgrading my PC instead. But if I get a actual console, it's probably going to be an Xbox because I don't have to buy the games
yeah,
for
sure.
it. But no, it's just interesting because Phil Spencer has said in interviews that like financially it is paying off, which
Yeah, they say there's like a massive percentage of people that play more games on Xbox,
Yeah.
or they after playing a game on Game Pass they play it for longer. There's been loads of numbers and data they've thrown out.
Yeah,
but-
that was it. The quote that I heard is that the people that are paying for Game Pass are actually getting into gaming as a whole and making more purchases through the online digital store
okay,
than the
Interesting.
people that aren't.
Yeah.
So you could look at that and say, well, actually, the people that are into Game Pass will also be more prepared to pay for games digitally through the store. So
Yeah.
maybe that's just the the culture thing. But who knows? Who
I
knows?
think it's just like-
think it's
I think it's just really cool as well that you've now got a whole generation of like people playing loads of stuff they wouldn't have otherwise checked out because
Yeah, that's
it's all
also true.
free. I think like you hear this a lot about like Dreamcast owners, right? Because everyone who had a Dreamcast just pirated the fuck out of everything, and it
Well,
meant
no,
like there's this whole like load of people who just suddenly got to play loads of weird shit, and as a result, like people. We can't mention. Can we mention this on Twitch? I can't remember what the rules are. Not talking about me, other people.
yeah, a friend. Your cousin.
People I know.
Uncle
Yeah,
Bob.
and you had this whole load of gamers who were sort of more educated and more sort of more awareness of what sort of games were out there. And I think Game Pass is going to see a similar sort of thing, in that loads of people who would generally just play, sort of relatively run of the mill stuff, are suddenly like, there's loads of weird indie shit. What's that about? So yeah, I think the benefits of it are wider than just Microsoft making
But
money.
just think about the maths that Microsoft must have had to do. It's okay, if we say from today, every Microsoft first-party game is now free on Game Pass, and say we sell 100 million consoles, or say we smash the next PlayStation, they've obviously done the maths to say this will ultimately work in our favour.
Yeah.
But as we mentioned before, when Halo Infinite comes out, and we're assuming that'll be the day one of the new Xbox, millions of people will basically not have to pay 50 quid for a new Halo.
Yeah.
And whereas a few years ago, the release of whatever the Halo was like the biggest entertainment launch in history, that's just not going to be there. I guess I'll say, 10 million people played it on day one.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And when they were doing the maths, how many times did they put the wrong number in and look at the C and the CE on the calculator and go, I know one of these just takes me back one step.
Probably that.
The other one clears it all. So I can't remember which one it is. So we try. Well, it says zero, but does that mean 0 back at the beginning or 0 on the last step? And then they go, we don't know, Phil. We're going to have to start again regardless. Just hit both of them twice and that.
Just say it. And we'll see what happens. We are fucked this generation anyway. Let's just see what happens.
Right, okay. Are we done with the news?
That's the end of the news, yeah.
Good. Let's get straight into Matt Murray and what you've been playing.
Well, I did play some Deliver Us the Moon, which was my homework set from last week. I mean, I've only played about an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, which apparently is maybe half.
I hear it's not a long game.
Yeah, it's probably about halfway through the game. So I knew nothing about this game, which is really exciting. I mean, you guys said to download it, and I just downloaded it and didn't know even what sort of game it was. But it is
just quick, what did we base that on? I can't remember, other than we just thought it looked like a sort of thing.
So they brought a trailer out. No, I saw a review of it, I think.
Okay.
And it said it was coming to Game Pass. So I looked at it, and it looked basically from the review that I saw, because I sort of skimmed through it. It was a game where you go to the moon, where there's been a failed project, and you've got to find out what's happened based on a little bit like, what was that game, Tacoma?
I was going to say, because Matt, you're the only one who's finished Tacoma, aren't you? As well,
I've definitely got. There's definitely some Tacoma vibes for sure.
So yeah, a bit of a walking simulator where you find out the story of what happened on this space station on the moon, and I just looked at it and I thought this could. I don't know if he was going to like it, but I thought this has all the markings of something that Matt might enjoy. That's why I wanted him to play it for next week.
Yeah, I mean it's walking simulator plus space, so I'm in, frankly. Yeah, But so basically, I think the basic story is that Earth's running out of materials and fossil fuels, and they need more fuel, so they go to the moon and they harvest this type of helium-3 or something. They harvest that. The moon is amazing. They got loads of great stuff, and then for whatever reason, the communications between Earth and the moon are cut. And
is it because everyone's got a high voice?
You know, it's so high they can't even hear them. Basically one day in like 2050 or whatever it is, the communications are cut, and it's now my mission. I believe it's me. I mean, the stories are quite ambiguous at the moment, apart from those core bits I just mentioned. But I'm now going up to try and find out what the deal is. I mean, I know that my dad was a key part of it, so I think it's my dad. Basically, there's a family. The dad spent most of the time on the moon, and I think that caused issues in the family. And the mum died, and then the kids are doing like space stuff as well. So basically, I think it's clearly my mission to work out what's happened. And there's a massive colony on the moon, massive, and it's. And
Matt, you just reading the Wikipedia entry?
I mean, I should have done that really.
Oh my God, it says here there's a colony on the moon. Oh fuck!
Well, but I mean that's about as basic as it gets. There's a colony on the moon, and obviously, and they lost communication. So I presume it's me. It's my mission to go up there and sort of work out what the deal is if my dad's around.
Right.
So
hold on, critical reception.
Oh no, the game don't ruin it.
Came out on.
I presume this is I don't know what the game's done. I haven't reviewed.
What did you think of it, Matt?
I haven't finished it yet.
No, what have you thought? What you played so far?
Yeah. I get instantly. It controls really slowly, but I obviously understand that they're doing that because you're in the spacesuit, you know. So I was this is really laborious and really sort of slow, and I was like, maybe I'll change the speed of the walking or running, but you know, I gather they've obviously done that to fulfill a need to sort of, you know, portray you in a spacesuit and stuff. So I get that, but it does feel quite clunky. Like it pretty much instantly you can tell this isn't an elegant walking simulator. Like I've played a bunch, obviously a load of walking simulators, and you can tell instantly where there's like real quality, and even things like the on-screen prompts are like massive, and it feels like.
So Matt, has it got Game Pass game written all over it then?
No, I mean it's too early for me to say that. It's too early.
What does that mean? What does it mean, James? What do you mean by that?
James?
I mean, what I mean by that is it another sort of like what they call like double A game that is probably not that amazing or whatever, but it's okay because you can play it on Stadia for free. Not Stadia. Game Pass.
That's too much.
Got Stadia on the brain. He has.
It walks a bit slow.
Oh no!
Fucking hell, James.
James, put that beer down.
Oh god, Jay's been drinking. Sorry, I forgot he's been drinking. Go on.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's obviously not a AAA game, and yeah, you can tell it does have a massive budget. But if I enjoy it, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to label it with Game Pass.
Did you enjoy it though?
Yeah. I mean, so far, yes. I mean, I'm enjoying it because it's in space and it's a walking simulator. I'm interested in the story. There's clearly loads of like threads that it's trying to give you, so you can okay, well, what's up with the family? The dad's.
Does it guide you through? How does it guide you through that story? Is it like
very linear so far? And there's lots of like.
So like Gone Home, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's items you pick up and interact with, documents and albums and but it's the standard sort of, again, if you played Tacoma or any of those sorts of games, there's lots of things to pick up, but you can't pick up everything. So I would go around a corner thinking, oh wow, there's like a book there, and you can't pick that up. And oh, what's that? You can't look at that. There's only certain things, and when you find the things to pick up, they're like they glow massively to kind of take you out of the experience. So even to the fact they're like, oh, and if you want to scan something, you can't scan everything. You can only scan the thing with the massive blue outline, and then a massive prompt appears on screen. It's kind of I mean, it's fine. It's just you can tell it's not as elegant as other games that have done it a lot better. But and graphically it looks pretty poor. There's a bit where I zoomed out from the Earth and it was pixelated. I mean, I haven't been in space. Maybe it's like that. I don't know. But it was a bit like, But it's not a AAA game, and it's clearly a small budget. But so far, I'm definitely gonna play it to the end because it's a shortish game. So yeah, it's in space. There's some very very puzzling, so which is fine. It's I'll keep on. I mean, I love anything in space, and it's a walking simulator, so I'm interested to see where it goes. But yeah, it's very Tacoma. I mean, there's already a section I play which is also almost exactly from Tacoma, but I don't mind. There's lots of airlock stuff. I'm into that.
Cool.
Yeah. So what do you mean airlock stuff?
Well, as in you go in and then you're sort of floating in 3D space, and you have to pick things up and take them somewhere else, exactly like you do in Tacoma. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm glad you recommended it.
Yeah, let's see. Animal Crossing. It doesn't sound like you are glad that we recommended it, to be honest.
What I'm glad of is that I'm playing a game where I know nothing about it. I didn't know what type of game it was. Don't know how it's done, although I assume now it's done well. But yeah, it's cool to play a game where I know nothing about it.
Okay. All right. What else have you got for us?
And Animal Crossing, that's it.
Should we do a brief Animal Crossing? I must admit, I haven't played it much this week. Feels like I've not really got any projects to work towards or do anything. I'm not too made up with the current what do you call it? The current seasonal event or whatever. It's
Nature
doesn't really
Day?
bother me.
Well, we're not going to talk about the Mayday Island.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that was
right, wasn't it?
I thought that was proper good.
Yeah.
Did you?
That was all right.
Yeah. Because it's. I mean, can we talk about this now? Is it already been and gone, or can people still do it? I don't know what the.
No, I think they can until
Yeah, by the time this podcast comes out, you can't do it anymore. It's the 5th of May, isn't it?
6th of May.
But we're streaming now.
Oh, right, okay.
So I don't know what.
Okay, yeah, but that's fine. Go for it.
Do you reckon? Okay, fine. So basically, yeah. As we all know, Animal Crossing is sort of barely a game in the traditional sense. But they've added this event where Tom Nook gives you a ticket and you can go to another deserted island except there's been they call it a maze, don't they? But it's actually
It is a maze.
It is a maze, but the the way you engage with it is it's more like a series of puzzles, isn't it? It's about getting to certain areas, picking up certain items or certain recipes. You go in completely empty-handed, and it utilizes the fact that you can eat fruit, and then that allows you to sort of smash rocks or dig up trees or whatever. So it's all about you're like, right, fuck, I've got like another 2 apples here. That means I can remove like these obstacles and get here and find this and do that. And I just thought it was a cool little like interesting way of using the mechanics that are already there in a really different way. And it was just an interesting little series of puzzles, like sort of minor like escape room vibes from it.
Yeah, I mean, did any of you like when you first land there? It's like if you get stuck, you can call for help and you can get hints. Like I didn't need any
to do any of that.
No, I thought maybe a wonderful, but no, it was well done. It wasn't just like, oh, it's Mayday and you can get a new recipe or something. It's like, oh, there's an actual thing to do. And I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect anything. Like when they said go to New Ireland, I literally thought it would be like going to one of those, when you get a Nook Miles ticket.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's a random island, and maybe we'll have like a Mayday banner.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised. It was nice and I enjoyed it. And
I thought it was cool.
I think because Dave, we talked about this, and I think in the whole group we talked about this, but like I think what you said was right with this, where it's like they did the best with this that you can possibly do with Animal Crossing, in the sense of like the sense of like the gameplay options that you have there for people. This was about as good as it gets, like in terms of doing something different, and I think that's.
And I said because it's something to do, people will think it's way better than it is. that was my point. It was like because it didn't change anything about Animal Crossing in terms of the basic mechanics to create a game. They did it all within the mechanics that we know within Animal Crossing, and there's not many. People will be going, it's so cool the way they did this, and I thought it was all right. Like the way you're talking now, Sean and Matt.
Yeah.
I think that's probably how I felt about it. But in the chat, you were like, it was fucking brilliant.
No, it was. I really liked it. I thought it was really smart. Yeah.
It wasn't that good.
So I thought that was cool. I'd be interested to see if it inspires people to start making their own as well. I mean, you'd have to go through all the pissing about setting it up every time someone wanted to attempt it.
Blue Peter there. And I'm interested to see
how do you at home? Art Attack. Try it yourself.
Give it a go yourself.
Yeah.
There was another big news story in Animal Crossing this week. Sean Bell is a thief, and he stole from his friend James.
Oh God, yeah! I've stolen a villager quite unwittingly. Literally.
So how did you find this out? Before we get on to what James has got to say about it, how did you find this out? Because we got a text message this morning saying about it.
Well, literally, it was so in the news update in the morning, Isabel was like, "Oh, yeah, we've got a new villager called was it Cherry? Was it Cherry? No, it wasn't. Oh God, it wasn't Cherry. Cherry's Cherry's special.
Remember Cherry?
We do remember Cherry.
It's Pauline.
Sorry, yeah, and I was like, all right, okay, whatever. And then it was literally I was about to go to bed. I was about to go to bed, and she was just walking about, and I was like, "Oh shit, I should probably say hi." And she was like, "Oh hi, I'm from James's Island." I was like, "Oh fuck, oh no, I've nicked someone."
How do you steal someone? How does that work?
So you can, isn't it basically if they're considering leaving, if you visit
if you
and you
go
talk
on
to
the
them?
last day,
yeah. Because I've found out that one of my villagers, Raymond, is actually like the most popular in the game.
Well, everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah, they do. And apparently people will pay like 15 to 20 million to try and steal him off me, which is not happening, by the way. He's not for sale. He's fucking mint. I love him. But yes, that is a thing. People try and do this on purpose. Whereas I assure you, James, that is not what happened here. It was just a total accident. I was just doing my Jeff Keighley. She just met me and she was just like, "Oh fucking hell, I want to live with him." So that was,
I love this.
Can't help it.
She was like, I just love his razzmatazz.
Yeah.
I can give you my response to this because Sean, I couldn't care less. Because the thing is, right?
That doesn't sound bitter. All right, go on.
No. The truth is, right?
I never loved her anyway.
Pauline came to me she came to me once and she was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about leaving," and I was like, "No, don't go, just stay. Stay. We'll make things better. I'll send you some presents, the whole thing, right?" And then
James, what did she? Is that how she said it? I'll make things better. I'll send you presents.
That's what I said. That's what I was saying in my mind.
Groveling.
I was like, I'll try. I'm gonna
No,
try.
I'll work twice as hard.
He treats
I'll
he
work twice
treats
as
his
hard.
Animal Crossing people better than the real people in his life. You know what I mean? You look at his wife and kids. He's on their island nicking their shit. You look at us. We say you're not pulling your weight. You're not doing this, James, and you go, "Oh, fuck off, boy!" And then you attack us, right? A little bit. Oh, I'm thinking of leaving. Oh, what can I do? What can I do to possibly stop this terrible situation?
Tell me you sent her a Nintendo Switch model in the
No,
game.
I didn't do that. But then, and so I sent a couple of presents over a couple of days.
What
Then-
presents?
What
did you
presents?
send
Yeah,
her?
what presents?
What
I
presents?
don't
This is
even
important.
remember. It's just
Yeah,
whatever
bollocks,
you got in your
bollocks,
pockets,
James.
isn't
You
it?
remember? You remember? Tell us what you sent and what did you write in the letters?
Don't remember. But anyway,
Yes,
Please
you
don't
do.
go.
Massive
Like-
robot
I feel
and
like pure
send it
shit.
to
Just want
her.
her back.
Yeah. I loved you. I fucking loved you.
so anyway,
Here's some flowers.
for a couple of days this went on, and then
You were
she
my
showed up
first.
again, and she was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about leaving." And at that point, I was just like, "Just go, just go. I've had enough."
I never loved you.
I was like, "Just go, just forget it. I've had enough."
Did
Also,
she say
looks
like, "Look,
Carol
James,
Baskin.
I've met someone else"?
Yeah.
It's not you.
It's
It's
not
me.
you.
Is
I
it?
want a break.
No, seriously, she looked
She
like
looked
Carol
like Carol
Baskin. as well, but
Baskin.
she
Did you
had,
check
like,
her
the-
backyard to see if there was one of those X's that you could dig something up in?
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, because she had like one of those wreath things on her head all the time and stuff like that. So I was like, just, I'm done with you. You can go.
is that one of the gifts that you got her?
No.
Yeah.
I've just realised that one of my characters is just outside. He's top of tier 2.
Oh yeah.
Sherb.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh my god, I don't trust that tier list. Sherb's rubbish.
Is he? What's he
does
like?
people
I don't know.
Sherb?
I've never seen him. What's he like?
Little goat fella doesn't say anything interesting. I've no idea why Sherb is a thing. But I looked at those tiers and I was like, I've got that one. And yeah, I'm not going to follow this tier list anymore.
Well, mate, get him
But
sold. If you
there
don't
is-
like him, who gives a shit? Get rid.
Yeah, I might
make
do that.
bank.
But there is one other Animal Crossing story that we need to tell before we move on.
Oh, yeah.
And that is how Sean, this time last week, on last week's show, we're going, you know, see, I don't know if I'm going to offer out my code when I get my 600 bells of turnip tomorrow
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
I've been following the graft. Tomorrow morning, 600 bells.
Hitting the big
guaranteed.
time. Hitting the big time, mate. Big
So,
bucks. Who wants to come round? No one, because it was, what was it, about 240, something
Yeah.
like that.
210, I think.
210,
wasn't it?
yeah,
It was
something
either
shite like that.
210,
I didn't even
215.
bother.
Yeah,
We
the,
get paid for that.
Turnip profit done me dirty. It was not good.
Embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. So just just didn't
No, you
mention
wouldn't
it.
get out of bed for that, but if it was 500 bells, you'd spend hours queuing up on a system to try and get into someone island that you don't even know.
No. Again,
And
once
you
again,
think
Dave.
even
No,
10
I
grand
was
to
the
do
one who
it.
posted it. Peel went to my island. You
So,
forget.
so
You're
how
forgetting
do
the
you,
basics,
yeah,
Dave. Once again.
you still queue up to get on people's islands. You still queue up.
No, I don't.
Bollocks.
Unless it's-
I don't think anyone believes that, Matt.
Well, I mean, I really can't. Well, okay, I
Oh,
mean,
mate, if that's how you want to
to.
play the game, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we're all looking
That's not-
pretty bad on the turnip front this week, aren't we? I don't think any of us are getting a lot.
No, well, I've got reported big numbers.
Well,
but-
I mean, yeah. Oh, what, on your own?
Yeah.
Oh, I might pay you a visit.
But also, who knows what happens on the actual day.
Well,
Right,
yeah,
well,
as we've
let's see.
seen. Yeah, because I didn't realise that. So a large spike.
Exchange on Wednesday, everyone.
Yeah. So yeah, like a large spike can be anything from like 180 to 600 odd, can't it? Yeah.
Sorry, Matt. What did you just say?
So I'll send you my link to Turnip Exchange on Wednesday.
So a week after you swore you would never do that again,
I was joking.
you're going to
Dave.
do it
It's on-
again?
yeah,
are
it's
you?
fine, it's fine,
All
just a joke,
right,
it's fine,
okay.
it's all
We'll
right.
see. We'll see
all
on
right.
Wednesday, won't we? Sean, let's go straight to you. What have you been playing this week?
I've been playing Jet Lancer on the Switch, which is any of you played Luftrausers? Back in the day. It's only
aeroplane game.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I've
very
played that.
similar to that, to the point that people have been seeing the trend, being like, it just looks a lot like Luftrausers. I mean, it does, but it's so if you haven't played Luftrausers, so it's like a 2D shooter, but it's it's like you're in an arena, right? But it's side on, and you have sort of 360-degree control of the plane. You sort of rotate it as sort of flying it up, down, left, right, whatever. But the cool thing about the way it handled was you could like you could you could hit like turn the engines on or off again, and so you'd let go of a button, the engine would cut out. So you could do cool stuff like if you've got 3 planes on your tail or whatever, you'd like fly away from them and then sort of fly up into the air, cut the thrust, and then sort of spin round, shoot back down at them without and you could do sort of loads of like cool maneuvers and stuff like that. But where Luftrausers was just like a score attack game. There was basically one level. You could change the loadout of your planes. So you had different abilities and stuff. But basically it was just you just getting the highest score you can, shooting other planes, and like certain events would trigger and stuff. But it was basically the same game every time, which is fine. It was really good. This is that, but with a story and a mission structure and loads of different levels and stuff.
Oh, cool.
It's fucking great. It's really good. I really like it. It's like, the gameplay is very similar to Luftrausers, but it does this cool thing of like, when you first start it, you've got basically loads of you can change your plane's loadout, and it's got loads of different abilities. And you've only got so many slots that you can put abilities in. So as you unlock more of them, you're like, oh, right, okay, I need to disable a couple of these. And you realise basically all the ones you've currently got in are all like assists. So things that warn you like when to dodge, like because there's a missile coming in, or to stop you flying into the sea, or whatever, stuff like that. So it's got this really nice thing of like, you're getting new abilities for your plane, but you've got to start taking the training wheels off before you can start using some of the more interesting stuff, which is great. It's like there's a story to it, and it's actually pretty funny. Like the dialogue's actually pretty amusing. It's like the missions are actually pretty varied. There's ones where it's just like kill all the enemy planes or whatever, or just survive for a certain amount of time. There's ones where there's like specific objectives, certain things you got to blow up. There's ones where you're like hacking radio towers. So there's these towers that you've got to like stay within a certain range for a certain amount of time. So you're sort of trying to shoot enemies that are coming at you without leaving this like circle. And then there's like boss fights, which are actually really cool. They're like sort of multi-phase, like really interesting boss fights. And it's just proper good fun. I'm probably gonna do a couple of streams of this because it is just really good fun. And it's just been great. It's got like loads of really nice like accessibility touches as well. Or not even accessibility touches. It's that thing in Platinum games where if you first run through Bayonetta and you're like every level you're like, oh fuck, that was great, that was really good. Oh, I wonder what rating I got. Oh, I got the worst one. And it's kind of like, oh, well, I was enjoying that, but now I'm being told that I'm shit. So this...
Well, I hate that.
Yeah, so this has that, right? It gives you a rating at the end of every level, but you can just turn it off. So if you just want to play the game and just be like, well, if you finish the level, that's good enough for you, then fine. You don't even see the rating. And I was just like, yes, thank fuck for that. Because, that's just such a nice touch. So yeah, I've been playing quite a bit of that and really fucking enjoying it. It's out.
So it's like sideline, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's left to right. Okay, cool. I'm looking at
just...
pictures now, and some of them look like it goes in almost as if it goes out of the screen away from you. But I think that was much just the way like the backgrounds are done. But
yeah, it's really nice. Just like really nice use of just like parallax scrolling in the backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
It looks great.
How much is it, Sean?
I don't know. It's not out yet. It's not out until I think it's next.
Got a code, everyone. Got a code.
Got a code. I think it's next Tuesday or Wednesday next week. And yeah, I'd really recommend it. It's proper good fun. Getting into like really cool little situations, like constantly, just like certain, like sometimes like a couple of planes will be following you, and then like you shoot them, and then another one comes in, and then like a fucking boat launches a load of missiles at you, so you like dodge those. And it's got this cool mechanic where you have like a dodge button effectively where your plane just sort of spins, so you invulnerable for like half a second or whatever, and if you successfully dodge through something, whether it's missile or another plane or whatever, you then get like a second of like your rate of fire on your gun is like massively increased. So it's essentially like a sort of dodge and counter system. It's just it's great, proper good fun.
Cool.
This is Jet Lancer, isn't it? By the way,
Sean? It is. Yeah. Oh, sorry, people asking. So that's out next week. Really good. I played it on Switch. I think it's on PC as well. I think that's it.
And it runs okay on Switch?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Full 60 frames, mate.
Is it 60 though?
Full else.
Yeah. I'll do
4K.
HDR. Yeah, what should I do next? Mario Maker 2. Played and streamed Mario Maker 2 because Skin Tight Jeebus with assistance from Doomican and Sheds made Super TCGS World, and it was fucking brilliant. And Matt, you haven't got the game. The others, you've played it now, have you? Yeah.
Yeah, I've played it.
James, you played for it? Yeah.
Yeah, I played it.
Matt, did you watch the full stream? Did you see it all?
I watched the first 20 minutes and the last. Oh no!
Then you got bored. You got bored. You got bored. You wandered. It's fine.
It's just shitting shit on Twitch. No, I had we were watching things on Netflix actually. No,
okay.
it looked amazing.
Did you not see the Metroid level? You didn't see the Super Metroid
I haven't seen
level?
it. No, I got as far as I don't know. It was basically like 25 minutes or so in, so whatever that was.
I was getting a lot frustrated with you, Sean, but I wanted to just whisper in your ear. I should have texted you beforehand, actually.
Yeah.
I put a message in the chat. I don't know if you saw it, but at the start you were like, "Oh no, this is going to be really overly difficult and awful," and they're amazing because there are levels in that world, the TCGS world, where you think this is going to be ridiculously hard, and I just wanted to let you know that actually it's not. You just got to. It's not like that.
Yeah, because he uses the Kaizo indicators, which I knew were a thing, but I couldn't remember what any of them were. For those who don't know, people use like markings on the levels, which basically tell you to do like a spin attack or to lob a shell at this point or whatever. Because those levels, it's not like the joy isn't in figuring it out; it's just in executing it, right? So they don't mind telling you this stuff. And of course, what Jeebus had done, which was really clever, is that he was teaching me the symbols as I went, because the first few he used were in situations where I couldn't really have done anything else. So yeah, really cleverly done, I thought.
There's to give you a quick run through. There's a Starcalls level. There's a Metroid level, a Bell's Kitchen level. There's a Full Nelson level, which has various different Full Nelson subscribers' names written in the level. There's a level based on what we were going to call the show, called In the Beginning, obviously.
Yep.
There's one of my favourites was the Game of the Year level, where it had a joke in it. I won't spoil it, but there's a legitimate joke, and just through circumstance, Sean missed the joke. Like he just clicked the wrong / right thing and missed the gag. But when I saw it, I belly laughed. Like it's really good, isn't it? It's fantastic. But I'm curious. Did you go and play any more of it after?
I haven't. No. Why is it? Because I know there's some stuff I missed. I know there was one level I went back to, but then there's other stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. It's well. First off, right. Let's just say this. It is ridiculous. The menu system. They've added all this stuff. They haven't they haven't changed the menu system enough to deal with it, because how I've been into various different worlds in that game over the past few days. God knows how I've done it. Like, sometimes I'll click on something and it'll just come up with the world screen, and I'm like, okay, I'm in the world now. Then I guess it's a little bit, it doesn't feel right at all.
I was really confused at the beginning actually of how to actually load it, because I was already following him, like Skin Tight Jeebus made it on the thing, and I was like, okay, so there's a bunch of levels here, but I thought I was supposed to do this as like a cohesive, How do I do that? And
and then you click one and it says, you're in the world.
So in the so it's up on YouTube. You can watch it again. Just search for TCGS on YouTube. You can see the thing. But I was like, well, I've got the creator ID. Is that what I need to let people play? Or the world ID. So
the world ID, if you type the world ID in, that should just take you straight to it. That was what I did.
Okay. But where do you type the world ID in? That's the thing. That's what was confusing me. The only place that I could see to type a code in was the creator ID search thing. But anyway, right, that's by the by. That has triggered a ripple effect in this household for Mario Maker 2, and we are back on that big time.
Oh, amazing.
I mean, trying people's worlds. Harry's been making worlds and making me play them, which has been fun. Actually. I wish I'd had the ability to stream it, because he come up to me and he said, I've done a full world, a 4-world section of games, and I was like, all right, okay. And I'm playing them, and a lot of them are just, the land goes up and down and there's the flag, and stuff like that. Then there's one where like just there's a billion enemies come at once and you can't do anything, so you can just skip that level. But then he dropped in some of my own ones into the game. Okay. And it's the period of time between when I last played those levels and I'd played them like yesterday. It was just enough for me to forget or to get things wrong, and I found myself getting really pissed off with myself. I was like, why have I? This is too much. This is silly, right? And there's bits where I was getting frustrated on a certain jump, like, and I died 3 times in a row, and I was like, and Harry turned around to me and went, "You're making yourself angry." I was like, I know. So it's been rediscovering that game again in this household has been absolutely joyous. Like, it's been great. I haven't been going back in to create stuff, but just sitting and playing new stuff and experiencing the Zelda stuff. Like, I mean, as you said, when you played it and you picked up the Zelda sword for the first time, you were like, "Oh, this feels like a completely different game now." Yeah. I could see how so many more elements could be brought into this. And I've not played any Mario 2 levels yet, but I'm interested to see how they affect things. But yeah, very, very good. You forget how good that game is until you load it up again and try a few courses out. It's it's an absolute classic.
Yeah, totally.
I really enjoyed it. Like the Skin Tight Jeebus levels were great, and it was one of those things where there was a couple that were probably, I'd say, just on the right side of hard that were good. It's like, and it was one of those things where it's like, after you've done it, you're like, yeah, I could probably do that again much easier now. Now I understand how this works, and they were good. I particularly like the Snarkles one. I thought was great. It was like this massive space battle going on, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. Although, did you see Sean's stream? I feel sorry for Jesus.
Oh yeah, I completely fucked it, didn't I?
Made it onto the stream, and he accidentally jumped out of the spaceship that you start in and got into another one, and you saw Jeebus in the chat just go, "All the music is linked to that original airship thing." So he played the whole thing with that music kicking off as he went through the stage. I felt well bad for him. But, that was good. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that for us. And you can check it out.
Because if someone had done
tweet out the code, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, the code is on the YouTube version of the level. So just search us on YouTube. The code for the world's in there. So
cool. Yeah, we'll tweet it out.
Like, it would have been cool enough, just someone doing something that nice for us. The fact that it's actually fucking well good. Was amazing. So yeah, proper good.
It kind of shows up all the rest of the listeners read, doesn't it?
Yeah, everyone else, pull your finger out.
In a way.
I've also played Mini Motorways, sequel to Mini Metro.
Oh, this sounds fucking dull as shit. What is this?
Have you played any of you played this or Mini Metro?
No.
Maybe not. Okay.
I've been Mini Metro, and I did download this, but I never actually got a chance to play it. How different is it from the first one?
I mean, not massively. It's the same sort of thing. So for anyone, so if you didn't play
colour lines with cars and roads, that right?
That's the one. So Mini Metro was you're in charge of like an underground rail system, and like stops would appear, and then and passengers would need to get to certain stops, and it's all about drawing the figuring out where all the train lines should go, in order to get people to their stop as efficiently as possible. I really wanted to love Mini Metro because everyone was like, "Oh, it's like dead chilled. It's like relaxing. Sounds great. It's just really nice." I thought it was stressful as fuck. Like, it's just like constant. As soon as you start getting it wrong, and it's just like people can't get to their stops, and everything starts flashing at you.
That train is gonna smash into a family. Quick, divert. Oh yeah, this is chill, man.
So with this one, Mini Motorways, again, you can probably guess what it's like. It's a similar deal, but there are. So you got a map, which is there's like loads of different sort of real world locations to choose from, and they basically like houses appear and like location, like so it'll just be like a building, so it could be a shopping centre or an office or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just a building people need to get to. And they're all color coded. So you get red houses need to go to red buildings, blue houses need to go to blue ones, etc., etc. I don't know what it is that's different about this one, but I sort of get it now, and I'm really enjoying it, and I am finding it not relaxing, but it's not stressing me out like Mini Metro did.
It's a gorgeously designed game as well, isn't it?
It looks beautiful.
The design is it looks so nice.
Yeah, it's really minimalist, but yeah, it's really, really effective. It's strange that like there's a bit of a hump to get over with the logic of it, right? Because as you so the first few times I was playing it, I was really struggling with it because every time a house appeared, Like, so every like a house appears and cars start coming out of it, right? So you got to think like, oh fuck, I've got to like draw a line to make sure this gets connected to a road, so it can get to the buildings, whatever. And then and I was really struggling. So I went online and I was like, right, I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong here, because there's a tutorial, but it only teaches you like the basics. And like the first tip I saw online was, don't worry about connecting all the houses. And I was like, well, what the fuck do you mean? And it turns out the logic of it is really weird, because it's not that like cars are leaving a house and they've got somewhere they've got to go. It's the buildings just need to receive a certain number of cars. A house will spawn cars and a building will need to receive them. But if another house appears and it's kind of out of the way and there's no easy way to connect it, just fucking leave it. Doesn't matter. Like, as long as a building is served by enough houses, which seems like really the wrong way to go, like, to think about it, doesn't it? Because you would think if you're in charge of transport, it's about making sure everyone who lives in an area can get to where they need to go. Whereas actually the way you have to think about it is like, oh, well, they're a bit out of the way, fuck them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's really
Is
weird.
that rural? Yeah, just forget it.
Yeah, but once that clicks, it's really satisfying and really enjoyable. Sound design's
What's
beautiful.
the next mini?
It's got to begin with M, hasn't it?
No. Shopping, supermarkets.
Mini supermarket,
mart.
just designing the
Mini
layout of
supermarket.
the
You don't get people round the aisles, 2 meter distance.
So yeah,
coming in
sort
their
of
bikes.
went from like, oh, I'll give this a go, and then ended up losing about 2 hours to it. It's proper good, and it's on
Sean,
Apple Arcade.
I think you might have tried it in the past or mentioned it, but like, you play. How much Cities Skylines have you played?
None at all. I've got it on PC, and I keep meaning to give it a go, because I was going to, because it came out on the Switch, and everyone was like, "Oh man, that'll be perfect on the Switch."
Shit. I forgot it was on Switch.
Yeah,
Limmy loves it, and I'm watching it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's really satisfying and
Isn't
fun.
it kind of broken on Switch?
Well, that was the
Doesn't
thing.
work
So it
very
came
well.
out on Switch, and everyone was like, "Oh, it runs like
fixed since then.
like shit." So then I picked it up cheap on PC. Still not got around to playing it, but yeah, similar appeal, I think.
Yeah, that looks. I really want. I might play that. That looks so satisfying to play. At least the things I've seen of it do.
Yeah, it looks great. So yeah,
Okay,
really
cool.
enjoyed that.
What else?
The other one I've got, I'll probably let James lead on it if you want, because it's Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah.
No, all right.
The thing is I don't know. I've been meaning to talk to you about this, Sean, because
Okay.
I don't know where you are with this game.
Okay.
And what you think of it? And I mean, I
think we already know where you are and what
just-
you think of it, James.
Yeah, well, because the thing is, I mean, I absolutely love this game. I think I genuinely think it's fantastic, and I'm really honestly, because the thing is, is I've always been a big fan of the Streets of Rage series. I've liked them a lot, and they're one of those game series where I go back to it frequently. Like during the year, I often go back and just play play through again or whatever, because it's not that long, and I just love it. It's just I think part of that is because it goes back to, it's like a nostalgia thing, isn't it? You go back to when I was like, growing up during the 90s, and we, come home from school and like play it on Mega Drive and stuff. And it was just, you got happy memories, but then it is also a really good game. It's also like, especially 2, 3, maybe, the Western release was a bit messed up and everything, but it's always been, it's always been really good. And when this was announced that this was coming out, I was not terribly looking forward to it, because my mind, whenever this sort of thing happens, goes back to all of those Sonic games pre-Sonic Mania that were like, we're continuing Sonic. You got like Sonic 4 and stuff like that, and they were all really bad. They're all pretty bad games. And then they showed like the art style, and I was concerned about that because it was all like super bright.
That was one of the things that I was going to bring up actually. The art style was everyone's main concern, right? But
yeah,
I played the first levels of it, and I was like, oh no, this is great. Like there's nothing to worry about here.
Yeah. And that's
so had they changed the art style from when they originally showed it off, do you think, or is it just look better in context?
I think it's partly it looks better in context, but it's also that when they first showed it, things were definitely a lot brighter. Whereas now they sort of fit in much better with the environment, like around them. So there's a kind of like a grimier sort of look to everything, which is really how you'd imagine Streets of Rage really should be. So that becomes much less of an issue. I mean, when I first was going to play it, I was thinking, oh, you can also play like a retro version where you can put like, use pixel art and stuff like that. And I thought that'd be, be interesting to do that. That's, I'm into that. But then actually the what they've used, the drawing and all that kind of thing is fantastic, and the animation is so good. Like the animation is like really really good in this. And I mean, I played it at EGX, but only like a couple of levels for it, and at that time the art still didn't feel right. But then the game did. Like the combat still felt excellent. Like it had like the right beats and everything to it. And so when this came out, and actually it looks amazing. The soundtrack is, I'd say the soundtrack is good. I'd say it's definitely not like Streets of Rage 2 good, or like the first game, or even the third, which was like mad experimental stuff, but still interesting. This kind of feels like it's playing it a bit safe. There's some nice samples and stuff from the original games, but it's still pretty good. But the main thing about it is I just find the fighting is really satisfying in this. Like, I mean, what do you think, Sean? Like, how are you feeling about it?
It's proper good. Yeah, really like it. And it wasn't like I enjoy like roaming brawlers or whatever. There's very few that I'm like I get really excited about. Like I'm not like a massive Streets of Rage guy. But yeah, there's a lot to it. Like there's loads of like little systems in it and stuff. That actually like it's a really competent fighting game. It's not just walking around punching people. There's like loads to it. It was sort of quite early on I realised that. So I was playing as Blaze, and I think there is actually quite a lot of difference between the characters, isn't there? I assumed they were pretty much interchangeable, but so I figured out that like so when I got knocked down, if I hit the jump button the second I landed on the floor, I would instantly get back up, right? Which is not massively original, but it's just like, oh fuck, that's a thing to learn. That's a thing to bear in mind, and just loads of little things like that. Like the controls aren't massively complex, but there's enough of a moveset there that like. So I played this through in co-op with a friend of the show, Chris Ban, and there were bits where we were just like absolutely getting our asses kicked. Like we'd get halfway through a level, run out of lives, and just be like, oh fuck. Like, what are we supposed to do? But then we had to think about it and looking at the reasons why we might have been dying and things we could try out. And by and large, it worked. We were like, right, hang on, we're not using like the fact that, you have like a charge attack, or, you have your, those attacks that like cost you a bit of health, but then there's an offensive one, but then there's also a defensive one which gives you some invincibility frames when you use it, and then you can if you then deal some damage. It's like the Bloodborne system where so these like some of these are skills that you've got cost you a bit of health, but then you can deal some damage, you actually heal it back. There's just loads of little things like that in it that I just thought were really cool.
And that was the kind of thing that I was concerned about, because like I've never really understood Streets of Rage. I played it when I was a kid for sure. I went back to it, a few years ago to give it a go, and I never really felt I knew what I was doing with the combat in it. In my head, while I was playing it, I was walking forward, I was punching when I was near a character, and changing to a different character if they got closer, and then picked up a weapon when it was available. If someone was slightly lower than me on the screen, I can just press down and then I would grab hold of them and chuck them and stuff like that. But nothing felt like, oh, I see the back and forth here. I know when I should be blocking or dodging, or can you even block and dodge? What would you say to someone like me that doesn't quite understand the combat system? Like how I should be playing this, like to know
play
what
Minecraft instead.
See, the thing is about the combat system is that you can't play this game like really defensively at all, because you can't block or anything like that. There's no blocking at all. So really, it's about monitoring what the enemies around you are doing. And this is where this game is, I would say, probably better than any of the ones that have come before, because the AI on this is good. Like in the sense that they do a really good job of like circling around you and then finding the right moment to attack you, and you have to counter that by being constantly aware of what's going on around. And then
how do you counter that?
Well, you deal with that by positioning and like where you are and where you're trying to get to, so that then you can avoid like hits, or you can like deal damage and stuff. I mean, Matt, stop doing that. Come on.
I just wanted you to see that. Brilliant.
I'm not doing that when you're talking.
No, I'm joking.
It's just terrible, It's just,
I'm confused. Right, okay. So you're saying you're positioning or whatever. Get technical. What are you saying? So if a character's coming up to you, if there's two characters that come in both sides, where should I be positioned? How should I deal with that situation?
Well, you need to decide very quickly which one you're going to attack first, because you can't defend. So you're thinking like how you're going to deal with that, but then what the follow-up's going to be to go for the person who's maybe behind you. And one of the things that this is really good at is the combo system in this is like significantly better as well, where you can run a lot more moves into each other that then can deal with other people that are around you at the same time, which is.
And what sort of moves are you looking at? Do you have like down, down, up sort of moves, or should I be holding the button? What am I looking at?
I mean, it depends. I mean, you see, the thing is, you've got like things like the ground up, like it depends on who you're playing as, but you've got like stuff like forward, like B and well, I don't know what it is on Xbox. I haven't played it on that yet. But you've got like stuff like forward B, which does like a
probably
sort of a special
then,
move, but
probably forward A then, isn't it, on the Xbox? I'd guess.
Yeah, or X. I don't know whatever it is. But anyway,
I mean, why would they put it up there? But go on.
Yeah, come on, you're the expert in like buttons to press when you're like doing combat.
I'm the expert in buttons to press.
Forward and B.
Press this button.
Yeah. Forward and B, wasn't it, Dave?
Go on, then.
Yeah, so it's about managing like where people are around you, but then also managing like special moves and stuff, and when you can execute them and when you probably shouldn't. And I mean, the mechanic it has in this, which is really good, is that you have like every time you use like one of the main special moves, your health goes down. But if you manage to beat some other people up, it doesn't sacrifice that amount on your health meter. So if you're good, you can deal a lot of damage, and then get someone else, get rid of them, and then your health comes back. It's there's a lot of stuff like that, but then there's also like a lot of pickups and stuff like that you can use, and like weapons, some which are more useful than others. But I mean, the main thing about it that I like is to me it feels really good. Like when you punch an opponent, like there's that slight pause and then like a reaction. Like you get like the reaction frame from it, and it just feels really good. Like especially, I mean, on Switch, it's like you get like vibration as well when you're like doing the punches and stuff. It's it's good, but it's all really, for me, whenever I play it, it's all about positioning and managing the people that are around you, because it's a bit like like in like kung fu movies from like a long time ago, you got that whole thing where there'd be like one person like fighting, and there's like a whole bunch of people that are like around them, like moving around, like looking like they're probably going to get involved and fight, but actually they're not. They're just there for sort of like background to make it look more exciting.
Yeah,
this is a bit like that, where they actually then come and attack you, and then you've got to like figure out where are they going to come from, how are you going to like adjust to where they're coming from. But yeah.
Okay, and one other observation is that this is Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah.
However, from and very early on, I've only played 1.5 levels. It felt more like a Streets of Rage 2 remaster, right? Because that first level is exactly the same as the first level of Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is most of the Streets of Rage games have been like that, in the sense that if you look at 2, it's really like a remake of the first game. Like it's much
but this is like the first level was absolutely the same.
I wouldn't say the layout's completely the same, but yeah, it's the same. It's a similar.
I would say it is.
No, it's really not.
You walk along a bit, you do a diagonal down right, and then you get to that bit where the boss is. Like that is exactly the same as Streets of Rage 2, right?
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. But you've got
my question then is, does it change things up a little bit later?
Oh god,
yeah, I'd say it definitely does that. Yeah, there's environments in this that you definitely don't get in the others. I mean, I don't know how much you want me to say, because it will spoil elements of if you want to see this for the first time, then. But there's a lot of stuff where you can use like environmental things as well, like particularly later on, which in a very interesting way, which is pretty good. But I mean, the thing is about this game like completely plays on nostalgia as well, and how you feel about scrolling beat 'em ups, like and whether you enjoy that or not. But it's a cliche, but it's just so well executed, like more so than I thought would honestly be possible. Like it, like Sonic Mania was like that as well. It was like actually good, and it like they mix things up enough to make it interesting. And this feels like it's gone further than that, though, where it's like this does feel like a significant evolution on what there was before, which I think is a very good thing. I mean, there's an awful lot.
Have you got to the end of it yet?
Yeah, I finished it. Yeah.
How long did it take you? Your first run?
Probably. I mean, I've only finished it on normal. Probably took me about 2 hours, maybe. I think.
So here's the thing. Now I know this game is built to be replayed, right? That's kind of the point of it. But on first completion, 2 hours, and it's up for 20 quid, I think, on Switch.
Yeah. But that's the thing, though, is this really is a game that this is a game that I will play over and over again. Like
I'm sure it is, but in terms of content, there for 2 hours, is that not a bit tight for 20 quid?
Well, no, because I think you could say the same thing about a lot of games. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example, but if you think of, okay, let's think of, like, say, for example, Street Fighter V. You buy that, you could play through the arcade mode of that, like the story and all that kind of thing, probably in less time than that, and then you could say, I'm done with it now. But you wouldn't be, because you're going back, you're gonna, play as different characters. You're gonna
that's more of a multiplayer game. I think they're different, aren't they?
Well, no, because this is a multiplayer game as well. Because mostly I'm going to be wanting to play this in co-op because that's the other main thing for this game.
That's not, that's not what I mean.
What do you mean?
Well, because Street Fighter is a versus multiplayer game.
Yeah, obviously,
to an online co-op.
No, but you can still listen. Think of it this way, right? When I was a kid, we played Streets of Rage 2 pretty much every night when we came home from school, and we played that in co-op together. And every time we enjoyed going through that. That's the kind of experience that I've been having with this so far as well. Is that every time I go through it, it's not that you're discovering brand new things, but you're honing what you're doing, and you're just having a good time, like with like working with someone else.
And the characters do seem, because there's quite a lot of stuff to unlock as well, right?
There's a whole bunch of characters, and there's also like other stuff, like there's like hidden levels and stuff as well that like go back to the original games, and which is relatively interesting. But I think, honestly, this is another one of those games where it's just like, if you're just gonna, for me, it's just gonna be a game that I'm gonna just keep going back to, and just because it feels really nice to beat people up in this game, and I like that.
Do you think it's more of a game for people that enjoyed the series already, rather than getting new fans in? Like, I can't imagine many people like getting into Street Fighter with this, Streets of Rage with this.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the series, and I really enjoyed this.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
2 questions. How long has this been in development for? And does that mean that Streets of Rage 5 is going to also take significantly long?
I don't think so. This has only been.
Also, whether there's like Easter eggs and stuff for you as a fan of Streets of Rage.
Matt, are you reading these questions out from someone?
No, it's asking questions lined up. Phil kept interrupting me.
It's something about sometimes when you're talking, it just looks like you sort of looking at this. Would you say that? I don't think it's your fault. It's just the way it looks.
Very clearly looking at a monitor.
You go to my first question, James.
Can you repeat the first question, Max?
How long's it been in development?
Yeah, and do you think that's going to impact? Is Street Rage 5 going to take the same length of time or what?
How long has it been? I have no idea how long it has been in development. It feels like it's been about 3 or 4 years.
It feels like about 3 to 4 years, doesn't it? We heard about that 3 years ago, right? Yeah. I think it's been in development for ages, but I don't think it's been in development since Streets of Rage 3, Matt.
No.
If that's where you're going.
Well, I wasn't sure if they had tried and stopped.
Well, no, because there were attempts to sort of resurrect it. Like famously, like there was supposed to be a Dreamcast one that was going to be made. I think it was by Core Design even were like doing it, and and then it turned into like a Fighting Force game. There's like footage of it online. It looks dreadful. It looks like you'd never want to play that. It looks terrible. But then I don't think we're going to see like a 5th one of these like anytime soon, because the rumours I've heard is that they might do the same thing as this, but with Golden Axe instead. That might come back.
That would make sense, because this is the same team that are doing Windjammers, right? The Windjammers 2, rather.
I think so. It was Lizard Cube or whatever.
Yeah, with .mu publishing it, which fair dues, like the job they've done with this. I'm really excited about Windjammers 2 now.
Yeah, but. I think what's really nice about this is that just like it's quite rare now to get games like this, in the sense that we do seem to be in a situation where we're getting like not remakes but sort of new versions of games that are actually good, and that's really nice. Yeah, that's actually happening. That you can
put the effort in. The nostalgia is a big boost up for people's interest, and then if the game's good as well, then you can actually sell a lot. Although to be fair, this is straight to Game Pass, isn't it? So I've been playing on the Xbox. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's Game Pass. It's come out. I mean, it's come out on everything pretty much. I mean, the Switch version.
What are you playing on?
I'm playing it on Switch, and mostly, I mean, the reason I'm playing that rather than on Game Pass is because I want to play this with other people. I've only got one Xbox pad, and whereas with a couple of Joy-Cons, you can play more people. But like in terms of performance, the Switch version is, as far as I can see, pretty much identical to like the Xbox one that I've played.
Cool.
So it's.
Do you intend to play this with a lot of people, like local play?
Yeah, well, I've played it with like
interesting.
Rachel.
Someone's breaking the lockdown rules.
Oh.
Played it with my daughter, who's
very limited.
Hello, is that the police? Yeah, we've got one. Yeah, that's a shame. James, as a fan of the old Streets of Rage games, are there loads of like Easter eggs and references in this, or is it not really that sort of game?
I mean, there is a bunch of this. I mean, you've got stuff like where you can. There's one area in one. I'll just tell you this secret where it's like you start off in like a prison, and then as you like walk along, you can pick up like a taser. And then there's like an arcade cabinet through like a door. If you go in there and like taser the arcade cabinet, you end up like back in Streets of Rage 2.
Really?
And it does.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
And they do that like a couple of times like through the game. You fight a couple of bosses.
Did you find that, or did you look it up?
It was on. I saw that on YouTube.
Yeah, you googled that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It is on Game Facts.
No, I'm just interested. I don't think there's any shame in that, but I just thought I'm interested to see if you discovered that yourself, because I bet that would have been pretty cool. But.
And then it's also
this might encourage some of those playground sort of tips that you got when the original game came out. Oh, no, if you do this, man,
if you do this,
stand here for 5 minutes.
Out. It's like. But no, but it's. I've been very impressed. I mean, it's again, part of this is nostalgia, but then also I just think this is a very well made game, and I'm very impressed by it. It's really good. But yeah,
I think the visually as well. The one thing we didn't mention is it's beautifully animated. It looks great. One big part of that is the fact that although obviously they're all 2D sprites, as you move through the environment, the way the lighting affects them is amazing. Like they've obviously every model's obviously got points on it where they've gone like, right, this is like the top of a shoulder or whatever. So as you're walking past like a neon sign, it's like lighting like certain areas of the character. It looks great. Yeah, so good.
It does look good. Okay, and that was you done, wasn't it, Sean?
Yeah, sorry, I am.
Well, obviously waiting for you to complete Yakuza before you go into it again. James, have you got anything else?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, come on, Sean. Final Fantasy out of league. Come on.
I don't know if you should bother at this point. Oh my god.
No, come on.
Just a quick one. I played it last night and something happened in a cutscene that made me so fucking furious at everything that I just thought, I don't know if I could play this anymore.
Okay, so
what the fuck was that?
Dave texted me and I was like, yeah, I saw that and thought, what the hell? But it didn't make me mad. It was, how can that make you mad?
Because it's like something happens that makes no sense to any context to anything, and it was just slung in there. And then when you told me, that's never referenced or explained again, I was like, well, what's the fucking point then?
Okay,
I'm sitting in my front room.
There is a cutscene where you see things, and suddenly you see a random person in a cutscene.
Right.
And I was like, what
it was,
is that?
Is it Jeff Keighley?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it Jeff Keighley?
It was Jeff Keighley.
Okay,
yeah. And I was
I'm up for that then.
Hideo Kojima and Conan O'Brien.
When I saw that cutscene, I was like, how am I supposed to know who that person is? Is that a reference? Like, I mean, I was like,
I think there's
like
two things.
Whoa, human.
There's two things with this, right? Firstly, I felt that it created quite a gritty story and an interesting story, and it went a little bit off the rails when the ghosts started coming into it, and I was like, not so sure about this, but okay, I'll go along with it. And then I saw that, and I was like, okay, all bets are off then. This game can just go, this exists, and you just go, that took all the serious stuff that it does and put it in the bin for me, and it really sort of killed a lot. Secondly, when you said, it's just not spoken about again, I was like, well, why am I playing it then? Why am I playing it?
Mad, but I was like, well, I guess if you know Final Fantasy VII, you know that's like, oh, what a cool moment that is. Where I was like, what the fuck was that? During a
exactly. I was in my front room, no one else was here. I chucked the pad down and I put my hands up to the side like that emoji and just went, what the fuck?
Yeah, but I found it funny. I mean,
was it a moment where you were like, I really shouldn't be playing games like this? This is.
Should I not go? James, do you want me to send you the cutscene?
Yeah, go on, do it.
Do you want me? I'll send you the
James,
cutscene
are you not
after
going to
the
play
show.
this? I'm surprised you haven't sort of picked it up and got it.
I will
thought
play
you'd be
it
into this.
because it is something I probably would be into. It's just that at the
Yeah,
moment,
you'd love it.
I went through a backlog and just I've got a lot
Of
of
Animal Crossing.
I'll send you a clip of the cutscene so you don't know what context it is, but it's in a really important scene, and there's just this bit that makes you go, "What?"
Just send a screenshot because yeah.
No. I'll send you a cutscene. It makes it even funnier, right? James, you've also got Uncharted 4 written down in front of us.
I have. I mean, because I finished that like a couple of days ago and just absolutely loved it. I thought it was
it's
the
great.
ending is fantastic. And I mean, I've already talked about what I like about it and why I think it's probably I'd say it's probably my favorite in the series. I really love the whole
It's
thing.
up there.
And it's mostly because they nail the ending. Like the ending's absolutely perfect and just feels right. Although also just like I've still got that little bit of hope that maybe there'll be like some Sully and Sam like spin-off games or something like that because I'd like to see more of them.
There is a spin-off game, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's Lost Legacy.
Which is who is it? I've forgotten. It's
the
Chloe,
two female leads. I'm not sure what they're getting names
yeah,
are, but
that's it. Yeah, and so I mean, I'm going to play that at some point. But
yeah, apparently it's
pretty
excellent.
good.
I mean, the only thing about it is that I felt is again, it's just the only slight blight is the combat, which is always just it's adequate, but it's never really fun. And that's
It never really took off. Did you do all that stuff though with the swinging behind characters and taking them out that way, using the ropes and all that sort of shit?
Not really. I just did a lot of shooting. Really, it's
That's what sort of got me through those combat moments when you realise that you are, relatively invincible. Like especially when you're constantly moving. Instead of doing all that stealth stuff to start with, I was just like, "Where's the nearest rope? I'm gonna flip into places, throw grenades, flip back onto the rope, all that sort of shit." It become a bit of a different beast, but it was clunky enough to not feel like it was made for that. It felt like you were kind of glitching your way through the combat, but it is the one downside to that. And to be fair, The Last of Us, the combat wasn't exactly fantastic either because that was massively stealthy.
Yeah.
So hopefully they've made big improvements in that area for The Last of Us too. But,
oh no, I mean I can handle the stealthy combat. Last of Us is more like we've said before in Uncharted. Oh, I've suddenly reached an area where there's loads of knee-high crates. What's going to happen?
Wonder what's
There's good wave enemies now. But but I love the story. The whole story was fantastic in that game, and but I can also see why they have put the series on hiatus. I'll be interested. Obviously, they will do an Uncharted 5. I'm interested to know what happens and where and when. But it's also good. I think they're taking a break because as much as it was an amazing game, I feel like take a few years and come back and see what.
That's another one though, isn't it? Because it really feels like you put. I think my take on Uncharted 4 at the time was, this felt fantastic, but it felt like the end. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
definitely, yeah.
They've taken the climbing stuff as far as they could. The combat wasn't getting any better. The story felt like it had been completely wrapped up. They really don't need to go back to this now.
I don't know. I mean, I still think. You see, I think like Nate's story and all that is done. I don't think you could ever go back to all of that. I think that's all finished now. But I do think there are still stories you could tell, like in this universe.
Well, yeah. I mean, you never know. It's the same with The Last of Us. You never know. And as we've said before, Naughty Dog clearly know what they're doing with their retelling. So, even if they do announce an Uncharted 5 and Nate's coming out of retirement, then fine. But let's see what they do with it. But we'll see. We'll see.
But overall, excellent though. Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Cool. The only other game that I've got to talk about that we haven't already spoken about is Moving Out, which I texted you guys very early on and said, "Oh, this is a stinker," because I've been playing it with Harry. But it turns out that it's...
Was this that Stadia game?
No, that's Packing Up or whatever it's called.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is there another one of these?
There's a Stadia exclusive.
Yeah, there's two on the same day. Sean mentioned last week.
Okay.
Yeah. So Moving Out is it's a top-down co-op game that looks very much like Overcooked. But the premise is that you're a delivery service and you're going into people's houses and you're picking up items and packing them up and driving them to. Well, you don't drive them to a new. Once you're packed up, that's the end of the level. So it's a very physics-based co-op intensive game. And after the first couple of levels, I was like, this is rubbish, because this feels like it's completely ignored everything that's good with Overcooked. Because when you look at Overcooked, the panic comes in there being too many jobs for the amount of people on screen, and this constant demand for you to create certain dishes which require additional jobs. And it felt like every level that you go into, there's a new job that you need to keep your mind on. But the amount of people doing those jobs stays the same, so it becomes more intense. And the multitasking involved is off the charts. Whereas this, you're up against a timer. The only real challenge seemed to be, how am I going to get all these bits that I'm dragging out of the building into the van without it spilling out again? That seemed to be the main challenge of it. But the more I played, the more you realise that actually this isn't Overcooked at all, and it's not trying to be. It's trying to do something a little bit different. And the more you go through the levels, the different challenges that it offers up. So for example, you are literally walking into a house and putting stuff in your van. As it evolves, there might be a road in the way with traffic. So, all right, that's okay if you're carrying a one-player item and you've got to get across the road without getting squashed and dropping the item and it smashing or whatever. But when you've got a sofa and there's two of you doing it, you've literally got to go to each other. You're standing at the side of the road waiting for a gap in the traffic again. Okay, go now, go midway. Okay, there's the other, go midway. Okay, then you've got a co-op chuck it onto the van. So you hold down a button and your players start swinging it, and you've got to let go at the same time, and he throws it onto the van and stuff like that. And then it does things where it looks very simple, but there's, say, for example, there's like 2 floors to the house, and actually it'll be a pain in the arse to carry this sofa down the stairs and through the door past all these obstacles to get it outside to put it in the van. There's a massive fucking window in that bedroom. Let's just chuck it out the window and then pick it up the other side. There's another one where there's a river, and one of you can just stand one side of the river and the other one can pick up the fragile objects and chuck them across the river. And they've got positions, so you're chucking them in the air and they're positioning themselves correctly in order to catch it, and so it doesn't fall on the floor and smash. And the idea is that you're getting a set number of items that you've got to get into your van within a time limit. And it's adding enough variety to each level to make it interesting. The challenge feels totally different. Instead of thinking, right, what job am I doing? I'll do this job, you do that job. Okay, I've got to quickly switch to this job. You're not spinning plates. You're just looking at how many items you've got to get and go, well, I can do this, and this. We can do this quicker by doing this. It's sort of prioritizing the objects in the house as quick as you can and working out a very quick way of getting them down to the van within the time limit. And Harry and I have had some great fun, because each level starts the same. You start off by you press the Y button, it highlights all the objects in the house, and it gives you a number of people required to move it. So it's either 1 or 2 in our case. I don't know if that increases if you go to a 3 or 4 man team. But you're suddenly going, right, I'm just going to concentrate on the lightweight 1-player stuff. You do the same. Let's get them all in the van first. Right, now, let's go for this sofa here, because once we've moved that out and put it in the thing, that opens up more room for this bigger sofa. So, and then you start prioritizing stuff like that. So you're not constantly barking orders at each other. You're just sort of getting on with it. And the satisfaction you get once you put that last thing on the van is just, it's great. You feel like you've really cleared the house out. And there are funny moments, but it isn't really about the comedy. It's just about problem solving on the fly.
It's more about the satisfaction of actually getting it done rather than the manic nature of
and getting it done with the least effort possible. We don't want to pick up every single sofa and wiggle it around all these hallways and out of this like small door and out onto the van. You're now thinking, how do I get this outside as quick as possible? There's one with like a snow slide, so you're just like chucking things on the snow slide while the other one's standing by the van loading it up. There's a haunted house, which means that the furniture moves around. So how are we going to position things on the van so that the chair doesn't just walk off. Like it could just walk off the van, and then suddenly you're an item down. There's a farm, and you've got to sort out the farm animals to try and make sure that they're not walking off. Yeah, and in the haunted house, there's ghosts that can chase after you, and pianos that suddenly come alive, and once you've been caught, you have to start back outside of the house and get back in and get back to where you were. So it's a time limit game. It's really good fun. If you go into it thinking this is Overcooked, you're dead wrong. If you try and play it like Overcooked, if you're trying to get that same feeling of playing Overcooked from this game, then you're wrong, because it's not trying to be Overcooked and it doesn't feel like Overcooked. There's a different type of joy to be had in this game. And again, it's another game that's come straight out on Game Pass. That's how Harry and I have been playing it. And we've been playing it a hell of a lot and been loving it, really. It's really good fun.
Has it got on multiplayer, or is it just local?
It hasn't. It's just local multiplayer.
Yeah, we've had like
as far as I'm aware.
3 people asking us to stream
of course,
this.
yeah.
Can't.
I'm not sure how fun it would be to stream. I don't know if it would be a good stream game, because it's more satisfying in clearing a house than it is the panic. What made Overcooked a really good game to stream is because we were all shouting at each other. Whereas you don't really do this on this. It's a little bit more methodical, and it's like a how can we do this task in the quickest way possible? It's all about logistics rather than screaming at someone for not doing their job properly. So for a large portion of the time, Harry and I were very quiet. We're just getting on doing our own business, and then I'll just go, can you help me with the sofa?
Just
and off he
cracking on.
goes. Yeah. He wanders over. It helps me out with the sofa. We chuck it onto the thing. Occasionally I'll go, you go away outside, I'll chuck these boxes out to you. And it's immensely satisfying. So if you're going into this thinking it's Overcooked, you're going to be really let down. But I think this stands on its own 2 feet as a really entertaining, fun game to play. And when it's on Game Pass, you might as well give it a go. Isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely.
It's interesting you're saying about the satisfaction of getting everything in the van and that being it. Because like, this isn't like me having a go at Overcooked at all, but like, when you actually work in a kitchen, you get that satisfaction. Like, you serve the last cover of the night, the last guest fucks off, and you're like, right, brilliant, close the kitchen, let's go home. But in Overcooked, you don't get that, because it's just an endless
There's no ending.
list. You just stop after the timer runs out, and you're still like, oh, I was like halfway through doing a load of stuff. It's fine, it's not a problem, but I can see what you mean about that satisfaction of being like, right, fucking the van is done. Shut the door. Yeah. Let's fuck off.
And it's funny because the levels are way longer as well. Like, we've been getting bronzes mainly. And we've got a couple of silvers, and that's been really cool, because it's like, oh my God, we got a silver on this. Like, we didn't even have to wait until the time limit. But most of the time limits are like 8-9 minutes.
Right.
So you can be playing for like nearly 10 minutes and think, we're not going to do it now. We've got to do it all again. But all that does is make you think, okay, we learned a lot about getting this stuff outside. Let's just act like the first time we got a silver, it was also the first level that we failed, because we were just kind of like, okay, well, we learned a lot getting stuff out of this, so let's do that from the start this time. And then you realize that you're flying through it. It's and the controls are simple. You've got the right trigger, you pick stuff up. You've got a slap button, so you can slap ghosts when they're chasing after you and stun them for a little bit. You've got a throw button. It's nothing too taxing. Harry picked it up in no time. So we're certainly going to be playing that again throughout the week. Very surprised, actually. It's one of those games, we've had those questions before where it's like, have you ever played a game that you really, really didn't like, and then suddenly it clicked and you loved it? I think this will be my example from now on, because I really just thought, oh, they've tried to do Overcooked and they've not realised why Overcooked's fun. And then, a couple of levels later, I was like, oh, no, they haven't. They know exactly what they're doing. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I am the idiot.
Is it safe to assume there's no point playing this on your own? Is it even possible?
I don't even think it's possible. I've not tried. Maybe it is, but no.
Surely there must be a AI character. It'd be mad for them to say it.
Maybe, because if they just limit it to one player stuff, I think you'd miss a big part of it, obviously.
Yeah.
But maybe you would get some sort of satisfaction out of like clearing the house on your own under a time limit. Maybe that is, if there's scoreboards for solo play, that would be really interesting to
Yeah.
see your score on a particular level and then trying to beat it. That could be quite fun. I imagine watching people who play this a lot would be absolutely stunning to watch, as they're dashing things about the house and out windows and stuff. It'd be good fun. And that's it. That's what you've been playing this week.
Cool.
Let's get on to emails.
Emails.
Can I go for a wee first? Can we have a little break?
Yeah, we can have a break. Yeah. We'll chat to the chat for a bit, shall we?
Does anyone want to see?
Subs and stuff? I don't know.
Does anyone want to see my firelighter?
I mean, there's that as well.
Bought a new firelighter. You go for a wee, Matt. Sorry, you've already seen it.
James, I'll cut this bit for you. Hold on.
I'm just gonna carry on talking. I've been buying stuff out of boredom, and I got a electric firelighter, and it looks like a taser that you could actually kill someone with. It's absolutely terrifying. Look at that. Look at that. So that.
Sure.
I was just wondering, like, if there's something I could set on fire on stream. That's probably a bad idea, right?
Have you tried that on anything?
Yeah. I've lit fires with it. It's good.
No, but I mean, like, have you tried like the electrocution aspect?
No, well, because I don't know how it. I mean, I don't know if how well you'll be able to see that.
Oh, is it a flame?
It's like a little arc lighter. It's not really focusing, is it? I don't want to hold it too close to my hand so it's in focus because I'll burn myself. So I don't know if it's just electricity or what. But yeah, look, it's got a bloody charge it by USB. It's ridiculous. So there you go. That's
Can I ask how much this was?
It was £15 from Amazon.
That's
Which,
not
to be
bad.
fair, I've spent more than that on shitty firelighters that broke after a week. So in my life, so if this lasts me a fair while, I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, that's the most interesting thing that's happened to me all week. It's good, innit? Lockdown. It's great.
Yeah, it really is.
No, it's not. All right, hold on.
Dave's just checking his
I
phone.
seriously. No, I'm gonna try and find this little bit of a cutscene for James Farley because I think this might blow your mind. I hope it. Oh, maybe this is it. Maybe it's this bit. Yeah, it's this bit. See this bit. Yeah, it's down here.
I suppose we can talk to the chat for a minute now, right?
Yeah.
So I think someone posted the name of the character, Dave, and then Ben deleted it. So I assume it was accurate.
Probably, yeah. Did you see it?
I did.
Oh, that's a shame. Sorry, mate.
No, it's fine because it's a character I was already aware of. So
right, okay.
it's fine.
All right.
But yeah. And just so you know, James, I don't know if you noticed, everyone's looking at the reflection in your glasses and they can see you just browsing the internet while we're supposed to be recording.
Oh, really?
It's all right. It's not. I mean, I'm looking at the Google Doc,
Okay.
but also other websites.
I'm still holding the file out. I don't know what
I
for.
was talking. It's that's worse.
Oh, did I just
Right, you'll
press?
know
Hang on,
exactly
I've just turned
recorded it
James
from-
off. There we go.
Yeah, I've just taken a screenshot from YouTube, right?
All right.
James, imagine not seeing a character like this. The character hasn't appeared previously.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no reference, and apparently, again, there's no reference after. This is a really pivotal moment, really important cutscene, and then this happens. Just watch that.
So, are you sending this on WhatsApp or?
No, on YouTube, on Messenger.
Okay. Right, hang on. I'm gonna have to. Can I just play it with the sound? Does that matter?
Yeah, you can play it with the sound. There's nothing gives it away.
What's happening now?
He's just watching that little bit of the cutscene that.
Oh, now. Okay, cool.
One problem with a standing desk: can't do any yo-yo tricks
What?
in front of the in front of the camera. Because like Matt can just stand up and do some, and everyone will actually see it. Whereas for me, because I can't.
I'm desperately out of practice. I'm not going to do it.
You've never seen anything like that in the game. It's not been. It's not part of the game. It's just that happens.
So
and I
it's
went,
like
what?
It's like suddenly there's like a Sonic the Hedgehog
No,
friend like
shut the fuck up.
Suddenly there's a thing, yeah.
This is
and
a spoiler,
someone else
James.
played the series. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a character from the original.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Anyway, as someone hasn't played that,
But again, it's
okay.
another. Yeah, if you played it, you're
I
just
got it as
like,
a
yeah,
reference,
okay,
but I was
whatever.
like-
That character's here. Why not? But if you haven't,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
So do you want to see it now, Sean? You're okay with seeing it now?
Yeah,
You
might
know
as
what
well
it
because I
is?
know which character it is.
All right, okay. I'll put it in here quick. Just this is it. This is the only time you see him apparently, and everything you've seen before, you know the sort of characters you're looking at. They look like the main cast, right? And then this happens. Watch. This is how they dealt with this cameo.
Hang on, I'll watch it with sound off.
I'm gonna watch it again.
Oh shit! So it's.
It.
So good.
That is it.
Okay.
I just went.
Wow.
What the fuck? What is that? Where did it come from? What is going on?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I was like,
What was trying
Whereas
to
Matt
say-
thought that was great, I just thought it was fucking
well, no,
shit.
I thought it was mental, but I was like, clearly I don't know the reference. But I thought it was like,
Yeah, you're right, James.
good times.
Sorry, we had to shout at you because. Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Let's
What isn't it?
Right,
Right, let's go with it.
can we do a 3, 2, 1, and then just because it helped? with
So,
it,
are we stopping or?
No. Keep going, but it's just
Just give you
it's
another
just
sync
doing
point.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Matt.
Matt.
Okay, that's it for what you've been playing. Should we get to emails?
Yeah. Why not? If you want to email us.
Bearing in mind, it
What?
is 11 o'clock.
Oh, shut
So
up,
what?
mate.
This is a
James.
special episode, James.
Yeah, James, this is a 3
Episode
a.m.
200.
Yeah, and it's a special episode
How-
we've been doing since what, 8 o'clock?
Oh, for God's sake.
It's
How
ridiculous.
is this episode 200, yet this is the 300th time we've heard you moaning about how late it is? How is
Yeah.
that possible?
We're keeping on to everyone in the Twitch chat has asked the question. So
Oh, there's an
You
after
track
party,
it.
James. There's an after
Track
party.
yeah, what else you gonna do, James? What are you doing tomorrow? We're staying in, aren't we?
Work,
Move
isn't
on.
it?
Joe in Seattle. Oh, sorry, podcast at computergameshow.com if you want to send us an email. Joe in Seattle's done that. He says, all right, boys, I was reading today about how players were super unhappy with an update to a new headshot sound in Valorant. So upset that Riot actually changed it back. What are the best headshot sounds in a video game? What other satisfying sounds are there? For me, the little headshot sound accompanied by the satisfying red hit marker in Overwatch just hits the spot. That's the sound of a bottle opening. Did you know that?
Oh, right. What
Is
that?
it?
You know, yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of noise in Overwatch when you get a headshot.
Oh,
That's
okay.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
sound
I mean,
opening
my
a bottle.
favourite is still the headshot in Modern Warfare 2. Just
What
like
was that?
the sound of it going, oh, so fucking good.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
tell
no,
you what,
the Call of
it was
Duty ones is the
also-
answer to that, but it's not so much headshots, is it? It's just whenever you hit something, it goes. You
Well,
know,
no,
it
but
sounds
it's a
really
different sound
good.
when you hit the head, isn't it? Like you can hit someone
Possibly.
normally, you don't get that, but when you hit like the head, you go, oh, so fucking good. So
But this
good.
was
tell you
doing
what-
my nutting in the week when I saw this question. I thought there's a game where you're firing a lot, like you're shooting a lot, but when you hit the headshot, it sounds like you're hitting like a metal helmet. It goes ding, 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 like when you're actually getting a headshot. Do you know what that game is?
Could be any war
I mean, if you're
one.
in chat and you know what I'm talking about, then let me know because it's been screwing my mind up. I thought maybe it's Destiny, but then I thought no, it's not
I
because
mean,
that just
most
changed.
headshots in games sound fucking good, don't they?
Yeah.
I
And
was
like,
always fond of the one in Gears of War. I always thought that sounded. It was really
Yeah,
good.
but that was like that. It was like
Yeah.
exploding. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a very.
sounded like you hit a melon with a hammer.
One of my
So
other
that sounded like-
favourites of all time was probably from like Rainbow Six, like going back to like Black Arrow and stuff, and how that I mean, okay, no, I should probably not talk about this because it's awful.
no, go on.
forget it.
Let's
forget
start
it.
now.
I already said you like tasering people to death in that game. I can't remember what it was now.
No, it wasn't. It was the. I mean, no, it's fine. Go on.
Okay,
It's a war crime.
my
It's a
my
war crime,
favourite
isn't it?
is the grenade launcher in Quake 2. Adam says,
Well done. Joe.
he says, hi, loving the show, looking forward to it more than ever nowadays. James, stop highlighting text as I'm trying to read it out. As someone who's worked
Oh,
their
did
arse
that
off,
to me, Sean. He was highlighting me, but I couldn't even see
he,
the
love,
next
he
sentence.
loves
do you
just
do
throwing
that,
people
James?
off, doesn't he? He gets off on it. As someone who's worked their arse off from home on COVID-related support for the community almost every day for the past month, Catching up with the podcast weekly is the equivalent of a weekend treat for me at the moment. That's all. Really, just wanted to say thanks. Cheers, mate. Really appreciate it. I had a question about whether you thought Apple Arcade was still any good, as I'm currently using it as using its existence as a flimsy excuse not to comfort buy myself a Switch. Myself and my son a Switch with Zelda, Mario, and Animal Crossing. But the email I've drafted goes on for ages, and I end up just convincing myself I should just buy a Switch. To be honest, just one for us to share, a family Switch. We don't all need one. Because while it's cheap, Apple Arcade is pretty shit. And even that 5-hour Cane and Rinse Christmas special didn't suggest any different. Tangle Tower was lovely, and the skating game has a nice soundtrack, but you very much get what you pay for, don't you? I still remember riding Epona in Ocarina of Time, going swimming in Mario 64, throwing a remote control at the fly on the telly in Eternal Darkness in my 20s, and playing Tetris under my duvet on my Game Boy as a 12-year-old. I doubt if Sayonara Wild Hearts will be filed next to those rose-tinted memories in years to come. Cheers, shut up, it's a good game. Game of the Year contender. Cheers anyway. If you have any Apple Arcade recommendations, I'm interested, but otherwise I'm in the market for lies to tell your wife about how much a Switch costs. Cheers, Adam.
Yeah, get a Switch. You just sound ready for a Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Apple Arcade. I'm still not like using it as much as I should, but that's just me. Like, I just don't generally play games on the iPad. That's just me and my habits. Like, as far as I can tell, there's loads of good stuff on there. But then maybe if you've already worked through loads of it,
it's been fascinating actually. Because do you remember when it first came out? Everyone was going, "Oh my god, like iPhone gaming's back! This is amazing service. I love it. I love it." And then when I had to pay for it, it was, "Hey, that's really good."
I'll just cancel it, and then maybe in 6 months I'll sign up again. And then
yeah.
I mean, no, did again. I mean, it, like for sure. And if that was your only console in inverted commas or any place to play games, you'll have loads of stuff to play every week.
Yeah.
But a Switch right now is just it's just excellent. I mean, it has been excellent since day one. Obviously, it's expensive, so everyone's situations could differ in that regard, but. If you can afford to get a Switch, and they're not cheap, if you can afford to, there's just so much good stuff.
So the iPad, you get 2 Switches for that.
He had as well. I like it. I look at the memories ad as well, and it's like I remember riding Epona in Ocarina of Time. You'll love Breath of the Wild. I remember swimming in Mario 64. You'd love Mario Odyssey. Throwing a remote control, flying the telly at Eternal Darkness. Oh, actually, yeah, good point. In my 20s, and playing Tetris under the duvet. Tetris 99. Tetris 99.
Yep.
Fantastic. You can't underrate that game. Like people very rarely bring that game up as an essential for the Switch, but my word, is it good? So it sounds like you're ready. If Apple Arcade is seeming a little bit too less games with less meat on the bone than what you're after, then step up to the Nintendo buffet.
And you can get a Switch, like, if you search around for deals and Hot UK deals, whatever, you can get a Switch like 180 quid.
Yeah.
170 quid.
Yeah, like,
not too bad.
So if you're playing it with a family.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, if you're playing it with family, because that's the other thing as well, isn't it? There's so many great sort of single screen co-op games on the Switch, like Overcooked, for example, that you just want to whack on the telly. So yeah, go full hog, go full Nels.
Yeah, but if money's an issue, then start with Switch Lite. The family love it. We'll better get a full Switch now for me.
No, see, because then you just turn into James Farley. Just get the one Switch and stay with it.
Yeah, but he's got kids, so there's potential at one point, Anyway, I'm just saying.
We're doing it. I've got a kid as well. Got 2 of them.
All right, show off.
That's right.
Right. Capone Adam says you are the head of Nintendo, and a lawsuit has come in regarding copyright of the title Animal Crossing. You can no longer call it Animal Crossing. What new name would you give the series?
What a great question! And there's only one man that can answer it.
Animal Forest.
What?
You go back to the N64 name.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's one. So when
it's less entertaining.
So in the
we were hoping you come up with a good one.
In the Midnight Resistance days, Owen wrote an article about Animal Crossing, and he titled it "To Live and Die Amongst the Beasts," which I think is an amazing title for Animal Crossing.
That's quite good. That's quite Land of the Furries. How about that?
I mean, it is. No. Yeah, it's factual. I can't I can't argue.
There we go.
Cool.
If James would buy
Can't we
even
call
more
it-
copies if it was called that. Go on.
Creature walking. Creature walking.
Creature walking.
Is Matt's contribution there? You know when you want to continue talking about a subject and I cut you short? That's why.
How about creature thoroughfare?
Okay, right. Okay. James, let me challenge you this way then. You're not allowed to use animal in the title. You're not allowed to use a location in the title. So it can't be a forest. It can't be island. It can't be, town. You've got to come up with a completely unique name for it. Let's go.
Oh.
Just look at objects around
Come
the
on.
room, James. That's the
First
classic.
thing. What's the first thing that comes
Yeah,
to
like,
Animal Crossing?
Mammal fleshlight.
I mean, the first thing that came, I don't know why, okay, but the first thing that came to my mind was, and it's ridiculous because it doesn't even mean anything, was creature comms. But that doesn't mean anything.
By Creature Comms, New Horizons coming to Nintendo Switch.
And it's like
Creature
links
goes to the sea.
but doing communication with each other. So,
Yep.
No, don't try and explain it. I don't want to know how your mind works.
What's this? What's this represent?
The Office, Sean. I
Oh,
tell you
right,
what,
sorry.
one thing that I've noticed as the weeks go on, have you ever seen The Office?
No, not really.
Oh, for fuck's
Yeah, have you not?
sake.
Yeah,
That
have you
is
noticed?
even
There's
more
like
obvious.
there's loads of situations where you're like, and you're all reading the lines from the office, and
my
I'm like,
God. Oh my God. David, office calls. I mean, I'm not sure I can handle
oh
it.
shit, that might
I'm
be
not
an
sure
option.
I can handle it.
You see, because it would be interesting because I don't really like Ricky Gervais. I think he's kind of an arsehole, but I'm aware that it's like even people who don't like him are like, yeah, but The Office was fucking great. So that could be interesting.
What's blowing my mind? I would love to know the count of Office quotes we've dropped into this podcast that just Sean has no.
even tonight,
Oh, God, yeah,
it must be
loads.
like 5+.
If you were to have a guess over the 200 episodes, how many Office quotes do you think we've dropped in?
I mean, what? It's got to be like a couple a week, right, or thereabouts.
Well, I think it's around that. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe even more. You must have heard us say that is fine. That one. You must have heard us say
See,
that.
that wouldn't have even registered. I don't think. I'd think you were just saying
We
that.
say that
Yeah.
constantly. There's a lot of that.
I mean, tonight I said I'll work twice as hard. That's
Yeah.
There's just loads of- that is fine. That one. I say
is
that
fine,
all the time. Like, it's just,
Oh God.
fucking hell.
Office
Maybe if you
calls.
just sit down is another one that I've said a few times. in
Yeah.
recent weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Paul.
Oh, I don't know if I can handle that. It's just
There's
it's
a
too-
whole new
I love
show
it too
that
much.
you're on that you don't
I
know.
love
you're
it too much. I'm not sure I can handle someone coming in and not. Oh God.
Oh, I'd probably
Yeah,
like
okay.
it. I can't imagine not liking it.
Oh.
I reckon that's the situation though where we've got to all sit down in the same room and watch these.
Yeah, I
Because-
think you're right.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Maybe
It's
that's
not
the
so much about
post-COVID
just
celebration.
sitting down.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'll see you in
Yeah,
2022.
Yeah. Right.
God, it doesn't know about the. Oh my god, there's so much stuff.
I mean, there are no bits
Bloody
of it.
good rep.
I
Bloody
know
good
the,
rep.
you know, I know the
Put it
dance
away,
and
mate, if
everything.
anyone is. Right, let's go.
Sean Mitchinson says, after listening to your show last week and hearing you discuss how nice it is to hear from new people, I thought I would write in for the first time. I've been a listener for about 12
wicked.
months. Yeah. I've been listening for about 12 months, and you guys are definitely my weekly podcasting highlight, especially now when I'm stuck working at home during this crisis. From hearing you talk about your children at different times on the podcast, I know you all have kids at various ages, so I have a question related to gaming with your kids. I have a 1-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy, and I'm looking forward to introducing them to the world of gaming when they get to the right age. From when I was a kid, I have great memories of gaming with my family, from the early days on the ZX Spectrum, playing classics like Jetpack and Manic Miner, before upgrading to an Amiga 500 Plus. We'd spend many hours playing various games together, which would often descend into some sort of tournament. After buying my first console... Is that who's deleting stuff?
Not me.
Just move on.
Matt. Fucking hell. Even after buying my first console that I purchased with my own money, a PlayStation 1, we would still spend wet Sunday afternoons playing tournaments on Tekken 2 and PGA Tour Golf. Even when I got a bit older and was home visiting from uni, we would still wheel out the old game console after devouring my mum's Sunday lunch and spend most of the afternoon / evening gaming and drinking. So I'm looking forward to creating these memories with my children. However, my partner's not really into gaming. She isn't strictly against it, but she sees them as a bit of a waste of time, so I'm not sure she would get involved in gaming like my parents did. Are any of your partners particularly uninterested in gaming or think it's a waste of time? And have you had any issues when talking about gaming with your children when they are old enough to do so? I mean, it's obviously for us, it's not really been a thing yet. Isaac's sort of been interested. I got New playing a bit of Asphalt 9 with him. That was quite funny. But she's not really for or against. She just knows it's a thing I enjoy. And like, she occasionally plays stuff, but not really. But I don't think she's got any problem with me playing stuff with Isaac.
Yeah, I mean, Joe absolutely hates gaming. She despises it. She's frustrated with how much Harry's into it. She looked up at the screen the other day, and I was playing Final Fantasy VII. I don't know if I said this last week, and she said, "I can deal with the FIFA and the Rocket League shit, but I can't deal with this. I don't like you playing."
We should talk about that cutscenes again.
Probably. Yeah, no, it's been a weird one because I think she's seen the value in it, especially with Animal Crossing, because Harry is just constantly reading. You know, that's a big part of it.
So yeah,
he's doing sums in his head. How much money he's got, how much money he needs to get what he wants. He's understanding that sort of stuff. Like, he turned around to Joe the other day and said, "Mum, I need 100,000 bells." She said, "What for?" "I need to clear off my mortgage." And then walked out of the room, and Joe was just looked at me as if to go, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, he's got to clear his mortgage. He wants a bigger house." So, you know, I think that's highlighted a bit that actually, you know, it is doing some interesting things educationally, especially for his age, where it you know, education isn't you know, you go to school, you're in year 1, you're doing a lot of colouring in, is what I mean, which, you know, is all important or whatever, but this is actually teaching him stuff that he probably wouldn't have known a fair few years, so it's helping. I think we were very strict when he was jumping to it, and thankfully those sort of rules that we put down early on have sort of he's sort of taken them on board. So if we turn around to him and go, "That's enough now, turn it off," that's it. He turns it off and it goes off, right? And that could be one of two things. It could be that he's not at the point where he's fighting back yet, so we might still have that to come, where it turns into a massive argument when you tell him to turn it off. Or we might have just been really lucky in that regard. We've been unlucky in other regards in terms of him, like, he don't like getting out and walking, which sucks. But he, you know, we're lucky in the fact that when we say turn the computer off, he turns it off. So yeah, it's a tricky one, and Joe and I have had some very interesting conversations. The important thing, though, and the one piece of advice that I would give you is, just because you know gaming more than your other half, if you're in that sort of relationship, it doesn't mean that you're right, and you should sit back and listen to the concerns, because the one thing, like, when it comes to Smash Brothers and whether we were going to let Harry play Smash Brothers, Joe was like, "It's a violent game." And I was like, "No, it's not. Smash Brothers, it's not. You sort of just..." She said, "Well, you're hitting and punching and kicking, and the idea is to knock someone off a platform and, you know, to their fiery death." And I was like, "No, I see what you're saying. It is like, you know, that's the first game he'd play where it's saying, actually, you're supposed to hit this. You know, you're supposed to punch this person until they've got no energy left, and then you win the game." And I was like, "Okay." So then I sat back and thought about it seriously. That's why it took us a long time to actually buy that game. And then when we did, you know, we didn't talk to him about it. We sort of just kept our eye on if it affected his behaviour, if he had changed, if he'd suddenly got into fighting a bit. So it's important to be open-minded on both sides, I think. And if you're asking for a serious answer to this question, I think that's the best thing that I've learned. I know video games way better than Joe does. Obviously, she absolutely hates them. But hearing her point of view on how it might affect our kid is actually really important, because I might be desensitized to things, or be so excited that he's getting into the sort of hobby that I love, that I might sort of overlook the flaws of being involved in that. So yeah, it's been a sort of a process where we're both trying to work out what's best for the kid, really. Anyone else got any other experience with that?
I was just going to say, I mean, you know, Smash Brothers teaches them violence, which is bad, but then Animal Crossing teaches them about capitalism, Dave. So, you know, which is worse?
Oh, here
Really?
Here he goes.
I've got to learn
Sorry,
the
Matt, go on.
System, Sean.
Jill absolutely hates games. I mean, like, Elodie has played Animal Crossing spread a game she's played most of, but she really doesn't play that much in the way of games. But yeah, she has asked about, you know, the house and move, and yeah, she's talking about decorating a house and stuff, and she'll say to Jill, "Oh look at me do my house," and Jill's like, "Oh no, just get it away from me." Yeah, she just hates games. Although Jill has played like things like Dance Central when we used to have that and Rock Band. But yeah, I mean, Andy doesn't play enough. But I think the educational side is a big part of it. It is awesome, you know, seeing her read and stuff. So I think that does ultimately help her see new words. But yeah, she probably doesn't play enough. But Jill was just not a fan of the old games.
Games are fucking stupid, to be fair. Sorry, James. Go on.
What you saying?
He said you're fucking stupid. To be fair.
No, it didn't. So games.
No, he said games are stupid.
I'm not. Go on.
Where did that come from? Okay.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I missed that as well.
Yeah. No, I mean Chen doesn't hate games at all. She plays. I mean, she plays Animal Crossing. Like, I mean, she's been playing like a fiend. Like, I mean, she's played way more than I have of that. She's like 220 hours or something stupid into it. But I'm certain that is also because of the situation we're in at the moment, and it's like because we're like in a confined living space altogether, and it's like this is the only place I think where she feels it's like her place that she can do what she wants with. Whereas, you know, every other part of the house is just invaded by children constantly, which gets a bit annoying. I mean, my daughter, I mean, she's older. She's 10 now, and she plays games. She enjoys games, but she, a bit like Chen, she has games she likes. Like she's stuff that she's into, like mostly like Animal Crossing, Minecraft, and stuff like that. She's not really interested in trying other stuff really. Whereas, I mean, my son is a lot like I was. And what is Sean doing?
I was trying to point the camera at the dog, but you can't see anything. It's too dark.
On the podcast, he's fucking around with his camera. Go on, carry on, James.
Yeah, that was just going to be a little Easter egg, James, but now you've drawn everyone's attention to it. Go on.
Yeah. Whereas, I mean, like my son, we were more. I wouldn't say we were worried about him, but I'm not worried about him, but he's certainly like more into games like than my daughter is. So like he's really like into games how I remember being into games when I was a kid. So a bit like you, Dave, we have like a bunch of like rules about like him playing stuff because he would just sit there and just play them all the time if he could. And it's like, I mean, one time the other day he was sitting there. No, we were like walking like somewhere, and he was just ignoring like whatever was going on. He's just walking on the road. I said, "What are you thinking about at the moment?" And he was just like, "I'm just playing a game in my head. You know, like I'm just imagining like that I'm playing like say in my head." And I was like, "Yeah, I remember doing that when I was your age. You know, that kind of thing, which is, you know, it's kind of cool." But yeah, he's really hardcore into it. But we, especially like with the Switch, we have like timers and stuff on that because the parental control app on that is actually pretty decent. And he's generally fine with it. You know, he knows what limits he's got. And you know, occasionally he will beg, you know, for longer, but it's like, no, you're not. That's not happening. And I think generally though it's been really good for him. I'm really pleased with the way he's sort of like developed from like playing games and stuff. I think it's been pretty good, particularly like you said with the reading. I mean, yeah, I mean his reading is really good, and I think part of that is because he plays a lot of games and he does a lot of reading, and I think that definitely has been a plus point.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
But I think
I basically had to. I mean, she plays it, but I have basically had to send to like 2.5 million bells to pay off her house, and now she's like, "Well, the last bit, Daddy, is 1.2 million bells." Like, I think you've had enough.
But also, the other thing that I've really wanted to try really hard to do with my children is I didn't want to force them into like playing anything or anything that I liked in particular. I just wanted to let them sort of explore what they want to do. Yeah. You know, what they find interesting.
What you'd like, James.
Well, yeah, because it's like you want to have stuff in common with them, but you don't want to just force them to be you either, do you?
Yeah.
Like,
especially when all you play is these like dodgy Japanese narrative games with a. I wouldn't expect you to hand that down.
Let's go on. But that's not about it. It's about they're interesting. They're interesting characters.
Which is more interesting. Okay, next question.
There aren't any more questions because Matt's deleted. Well, there's no emails anyway. We're doing tweets.
Yeah, go on to tweets. It's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter if you want to tweet us. Ben Simon, Scientologist, has tweeted, I've just turned off Animal Crossing for now, and it does birthday celebrations really well with lots of little fun things that put a smile on my face. What other games stand out when it comes to birthdays? What other holiday timed events? This isn't really a thing as much anymore.
It's not, is it? Fantasy Star Online.
See cool winter stuff.
Yeah, Fantasy Star Online had loads of cool events for different.
Hang on. What are you talking about? Every single Games as a Service game does this.
That's true.
They
Destiny
all
does
this
it.
stuff. I mean, like, Anthem even still had their Christmas decorations up, didn't they? You know, it's like
a dig of an Anthem dig, whatever it took to get it.
Yeah, but I think it's talking specifically birthday stuff, right?
Well, he says birthdays or other holidays.
Themed events. Oh, right, okay, yeah. So most games do this, but I think, I mean, the one that or you always used to speak to me, because FIFA did this early on, didn't it? When you created your own character and you named them after yourself and then you gave the date of birth, the commentator would go, oh, it's his birthday today. It's like, oh, it is my birthday, isn't it? Yeah. They do that for all the players. So, like, if, you know, it's, I know, Sterling's birthday or whatever, they mention that. So... yeah, they used to always perk me up.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm just thinking more, like Christmas nights, and I was thinking more about changing the game clock, and you see certain seasonal things. Now it's games as a service where changing the clock isn't going to change anything. It's more like, is the service or event live, rather than a pre-program.
Some holidays are better than others, though, aren't they? I mean, like Easter. Animal Crossing proved that no one should ever do an Easter thing in their game.
Do you know what everyone does forget? Was it Batman? Was it Arkham City or Arkham Knight had a load of Calendar Man stuff? But like he wasn't even in the game unless you. So it's not like it was a game that you loaded up thinking, oh yeah, well on this date that stuff's going to happen. It was just if you happened to load it up at I think it was Easter and Christmas, maybe something else. It would just pop up with like an extra side mission because Calendar Man, the shittest villain ever, would like do an extra challenge for you. Whatever. I thought that was quite cool, just because no one really expected it in that game.
Yeah. I'll tell you this though, the worst game for playing it on your birthday is Gmail. Load up your Gmail on your birthday and there's 50 marketing emails saying, hey, happy birthday, here's 3% off your order if you order today.
Yeah.
It's fucking annoying. Wake up, you look at your phone and there's like 50 emails, unread emails.
Do you know what always used to amuse me? So I don't know if any of you ever played a game called Toribash. It was like this really weird sort of turn-based fighting game where like instead of ordering units around, you were just giving commands to like your limbs. So it was really weird and really interesting. Anyway, I was signed up to the forums for that about 20 years ago. And until like a few years ago, every year at midnight on my birthday, it'd be like, happy birthday from the Toribash forums. And it was like a little ritual every time I'd get up on my birthday. Yep, there's the email from the Toribash forums.
You can't unsubscribe from that, can you? You just couldn't.
Well, it just mysteriously stopped a couple of years back, and I was like, I sort of gutted when it did.
Definitely gone now.
Yeah.
Joshua Garrity, Combine Hunter on Twitter. What else do you wish you could have 200 of?
What? What else could you have?
What else do you wish you could have made 200 of?
What is this reference to?
The fact that we was on the 200th episode of the podcast, Dave.
Oh, right. Oh, I completely forgot that. What else could you... £50 notes? Is that a crap answer? It's probably a crap answer.
You can't really make them though yourself. Like, what's something you can make yourself that you wish you'd done 200? Trifles, raspberry trifles. There you go.
Yeah, but that'd be pointless, wouldn't it? They'd go off.
Well, no, I'd spread it out over a couple of years. Well, weeks. I can eat a lot of trifle. Probably die before I reach 200, to be honest. Sausage rolls.
I reckon I could make a PC.
Yeah?
I reckon I could make a PC. Yeah.
Gonna make 200 of them.
Yeah. Make 200 PCs, keep one for myself and sell the other 199. Pure prof.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's probably the most expensive thing I could make. I reckon.
Well, you have to buy them though, so.
What were you going to say, James?
I wish we
All
could have
part of
made
the
200 episodes of Interface, but it just wasn't to be.
Me too, James. Am I right? Hello.
You can always pick it back
You
up.
are the only two people that wish you'd
James,
made 200
James,
episodes of
I
that.
seriously think, James, we should bring it back.
How many did you do?
It'd be part of the TCGS network, you know.
Yeah, the TCGS network.
Yeah. How many
Yeah,
did you
exactly.
do?
30 odd?
Oh, okay.
It was about 30, yeah.
Well, there you go. It's nearly a quarter of the way.
Oh, okay.
They will
Okay.
read.
I don't remember hearing about 29 of those, but what was it? The thing is, right, it was all fun and games when you did it back then, but you're not putting it under the TCGS brand. I'm not putting my name anywhere near that.
Well, we've put Starkles on it, so we can put anything on it, surely.
The popular show Starkles, yeah, we could put that on our
Interface
bit.
could be a popular show. Just put it all under the same melting pot.
Interface was just finding its audience. You know, it's just
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, now it's
cool
stealing
fanboys.
ours, James.
Here's the tech show. Tech show, guys. What Apple products do you want to talk about this week? There are other things. Is what I'm saying. Go on.
Future
Next.
exercise. How's the bitter mist coming along, James?
Mate, it was going so well.
It's been
so well, but-
indefinitely postponed.
Of course, yeah, because of the COVID. Yeah.
We were fine until COVID came along.
The shipping and
Yeah, the
distribution's just
unprecedented
completely up the
times.
wall now, isn't it? It's just
Yeah. I mean, it's basically it delayed indefinitely, isn't that's the
Yeah.
line,
It
isn't
is,
it?
yeah.
We were getting close to
Like I'd
the
already said. But yeah.
We'd planned our whole E3 show. You know, we were coming on stage with Phil
Yeah.
to announce the Bitter Nest, which
now
was
it's just like Game Fest. I'm like, no, fuck off, mate.
which was an action game set now, if you remember correctly.
Yeah.
That's all.
certainly
Absolutely
is.
gutted.
Yeah.
Real shame.
Yeah.
Real shame.
Still,
Also,
Creature Comms will be our next project that we'll move on to. What's it called? Creature Comms?
Yeah.
is the DLC.
Look forward to that.
On a more serious note, Future Exercise continues. Any more group streams planned? The last one was a blast. I mean, we all love that.
Yeah, we did.
So we would love to, but and it's not
It's
that we
been
can't,
busy the past couple of weeks.
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair,
but we would
we had to do the
absolutely love
talks over. Yeah, we had to do the talks over. We've had many streams. We've had the
It's
Star
certainly
Call
what we
stuff.
want.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been quite busy.
But we definitely want to hear because the last one, after the last one, we're like, that was really good fun. We should do more. But just
Let's do one on a Sunday night then. If you're struggling to find a game to play,
That's
why
fine.
don't we
Yeah,
do
keep
one
them
on
free for a bit,
Sunday
and we'll
night?
do.
Sunday
Yeah,
at the moment, until I find something else.
yeah, that'd be all right.
cool.
Sweet. Andy Godwin at Big Copman on Twitter. With Game Pass seemingly going from strength to strength for Xbox, then Sony announced this month's PS Plus games. I'm not sure what they are. Do you?
No, it's a joke. There's a petition.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it wasn't. It was rumored.
Do you think
Sorry.
Sony has something special up the sleeve for PS5 launch? As this surely can't go on from then. It's embarrassing now. So what are the games on PS5?
So well, it was rumored
Okay, so-
that we were getting Dark Souls and something else, wasn't it?
Yeah,
okay.
But what we
Right.
actually got was Farming Simulator 19 and City Skyline.
Which
Which,
both of them are great games.
yeah, I was going to say, I don't really
The
see what
thing
the
is,
problem
though,
is, personally.
They're good games.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, he's comparing two things here that are not.
I was going to
that they're
say,
not
yeah.
comparable.
Comparable, yeah.
Because if you look at Xbox Live Gold also has a lot of stinkers on there.
I
Yeah,
never
Games of
found
Gold,
out.
God, yeah, it's gone
Yeah.
fucking way downhill. That
I've
stuff.
done it. I think I've done it like twice ever. It's never as easy as PS Plus.
I mean, with Game Pass being so ubiquitous now, I'm amazed they even bother with games with gold anymore. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
arguably
it's-
they've
yeah.
still got people like, I've paid for my gold subscription, I want my free games. But yeah, can't imagine.
See,
being
this
that
is
big an
why,
issue, but-
why, as I said before, I really think Sony ought to just can the PS Plus games thing, and just do
Make
maybe a
PS Now
cheaper
good.
tier for people that want to play online or whatever. Then maybe a slightly more extensive one, and just say
Yeah.
PlayStation Now. Just
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
yeah, you get this.
They'd have to do what they did with dropping the Vita games though, and announce it a year early. That's the thing.
Yeah,
'Cause
True,
if
yeah,
people
'cause
can
people are
buy
still-
a year expecting
Yeah.
free games every month,
Yeah.
they're fucked basically.
but yeah.
But in terms of
Same with
PS Now,
Microsoft.
in terms of PS Now versus Game Pass, obviously, Sony will be doing more with it. Game Pass, a lot of people talk about it and positively, and I think they will inspire people to get an Xbox where they wouldn't ordinarily have done so. But Sony clearly have the technology, and if they need to, they will increase the games in it or do more of it. They obviously
Well, you
will,
can
but
already see them starting to do that, can't you?
but they
Yeah,
don't
there's
need
stuff like Control on there, and there's.
exactly.
And
They
they've
need
had
to
like
drop the
Spider-Man
price
on there
of
recently, and
don't they? They've
Yeah,
got to drop the price.
You're right, as you said,
Match
James,
point.
earlier, like I've thought.
Well, they have. I
last
mean,
week,
PlayStation now is like 35 quid for a year.
Yeah, that-
Which
that's-
I mean, that's
Oh, really?
yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know that. That's really good.
When Game Pass, before the £1 offers, there was like get a year for like 50 quid, and people were like, this is amazing, I'll jump on it. Obviously now they've got crazy offers, but £37 for the whole year PS Now, I mean that's a great deal, and I love the deal.
Yeah, that is a good deal.
But I just haven't really been
Have they
bothered.
confirmed that carries over to PS5?
We'd assume so. I mean, I'd be very surprised
I
if
would assume
PS5 doesn't support PlayStation Now. I mean, that'd be just weird.
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
yeah, but if it is going to be on the same tier, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
no idea.
I mean, the worst thing that they did with PlayStation Now was like cutting it off from all the loads of different devices and stuff, so that it now only basically works on a Windows PC or like your PlayStation 4. It doesn't work on anything else. Which
on Mac.
no, it doesn't work on Mac either, which
Oh, wow.
is very.
Oh yeah, they
irritating.
stopped support with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wankers.
All right. Okay. Next
Yeah,
question.
It was £6 @6quid_games. Which gaming mascot would you like to have as a lifelong sidekick? They will partake in every moment of your day/night, which I think that's the qualifier at the end, isn't it? They will partake in every moment
of your day/night. What was the Farley? What was the dog in Astral Chain? The mascot one. She was pretty funny.
I don't remember the name.
Sean,
Yeah.
they will partake in every moment of your day and
I
night.
know, but
Also,
I mean,
Sean,
there's
that was a woman dressed up.
Yeah.
That's why Sean chose her.
No, don't do that. Well, there's no answer to this
No,
that
no, we're
isn't
gonna
weird,
do that.
right?
That's interesting. That's a new running joke for the next 100 shows.
Yeah. But Sean chose the dog because he knew it was a woman dressed up as a dog.
I mean, I was going to clarify that I'm assuming she's keeping the costume on the whole time. That doesn't make things better at all, does it? Makes it much worse.
Makes it worse.
It was.
So-
I mean, Sean. Also, I mean, okay. This is from the chat, but it was Lappy.
It was
That
Lappy,
was
thank
the
you.
name. Yeah.
Thank you, chat.
just looking at you in that blue suit with the yellow tie just makes it look like a Tory that's just exposed a horrific fetish.
I thought Sean saying so when I'm on the internet, I hate it because there's loads of adverts for like weird sex shit.
Every time I type
See,
stuff into
initially
Google, it comes up with stuff that I didn't recognise.
Initially, I thought Luigi because he just makes me laugh a lot.
Oh no, he'd be
but then
annoying
I
as
thought,
fuck.
Actually, yeah, it'd be too much, wouldn't it? I think Yoshi.
Yeah.
Just when I'm walking along and I want to get somewhere, I could just
hop
jump
on.
on his back.
Yeah. If you
Like,
need to run over
know-
like a load of spikes, can you run on spikes? No, that's
He can,
Yeah, you can.
Can he? Okay, sorry,
he
I'm
can run
thinking
on
of
spikes.
Yoshi's
Yeah,
arms
he's got
on it.
that. Like, so if,
Oh, there you go.
if I see spikes,
Yeah,
I can
we're
run
like,
on spikes.
Here he is.
If a hoodlum comes up to me and gives me some grief, my little cartoon dinosaur can eat him and shit him out in an egg.
Or even if he fails to eat
better than
him, he can take the hit and then he just runs off and you're still alive.
Yeah,
so you can
yeah.
survive one
I'll get into
lethal
fights
attack.
all the time. Someone will punch me, he'll just run off for
Yeah,
a bit,
yeah.
and then I'll have that opportunity to smash shit out. But I'll just tell him to turn around.
But no, he's got to partake. He's got to partake in every activity. That's the issue. That's
That's
for
what
me.
I'm telling him to turn around.
He's got a big. He's got a big old tongue, Dave.
Partake in.
What's that?
He's got a big
game
tongue.
all the time.
Yoshi's got a big tongue. That's all I'm
That's
saying.
right. He can get to areas that no human can. So Matt's would be Tifa. We all know that, but
Yep.
judging by the text messages
Yeah,
I've been getting with
I actually I didn't
Here we
Google it. I didn't Google this at all, right?
Yeah, whatever.
But
believe you.
But the other, I don't know. I think I was on basically I got a Google advert for Tifa love pillow thing.
Oh no.
I don't know how that.
Oh,
came
that's
up.
a. Nah.
It's one of
That's a
those
line being
situations where it's
crossed,
going
isn't
on
it?
past searches, isn't it?
Yeah.
When with that time, it would have been that time that you googled Tifa.
No, right. I've
Love
Googled
pillow.
Tifa. I haven't Googled Tifa love pillow. He just put two
Yeah,
and
but
two
they
together.
they
Google
put two and
Tifa?
two together, Matt. You can't.
Why not?
They know what they're
Someone
doing.
hit your character, Dave.
I googled Tifa and then I googled love pillow, but I forgot to.
The second bit, I just did the characters. I wanted to know
Okay.
what history was because I thought our characters.
All
were-
right.
developed in Final Fantasy VII
Can
Remake.
someone please send Matt Murray a Tea for Love pillow now, please?
That he has to explain to his wife and
Stream.
child.
That'll be a great stream. I'll be all over that.
No, I don't want to know what sort of stream you're talking about. To be honest, James, have you got an answer to this?
No.
If James
Good.
has, he's scared of
Fucking
answering.
hell.
He's scared of answering. He's got an answer though.
2012. Go on.
All right, well, let's pick one for James then. Tails.
No, come on.
No. Jason.
Well, from for Heavy Rain.
That's just a kid. That's not. He's not a sidekick. He's someone's child. That doesn't.
Yeah, that is just a child, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. The thing is I was thinking like
Be
obviously
Blake.
characters that I really like, and I was thinking like obviously like Kiryu or whatever. But then it just made me feel bad about myself the whole time.
He's not a side character, though, is he? He's a main
No, it's
protagonist.
true. Yeah.
How about Blake from Heavy Rain?
Yes. Yes.
Actually,
That'd
yeah,
be a
that
good
would
one
be
for you.
very interesting. Yeah, that would be.
Fucking asshole!
Absolutely.
It's just giving it all around you all the time. You're gonna take shit from these students? Fuck you! Fucking asshole! All right. Okay, we done.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it, I think.
Good. Well, thank you so much. Oh no, here we go. Right, socials.
Right, James. Is this a week you're streaming Dreams?
I don't know.
Off. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, how many
Okay,
weeks am
that's
I
a no.
off?
That's a no.
It's,
James,
it's
that's-
fine to have a few weeks off, but you did like announce this about a month ago.
Yeah. No, I know. It's true. But then I just felt
1 week off.
I just wanted to have some time off because I've just felt
Okay.
like I've done a lot of streams.
That's a no. right?
Socials.
So James is not streaming. Basically, forget James ever streaming ever again. If it happens, it happens. Also not streaming on Sunday. Also, for those of you who tried to watch me and James stream Streets of Rage 4 on both Saturday and Sunday, I do apologise. My computer's a massive piece of shit, but I've since bought literally hundreds of pounds of upgrade stuff. So I'm hoping next stream, which should be fine.
Can you do a stream of you installing it, Matt?
Absolutely not.
Just with
I'll
your
play
phone.
with a breakdown. But yeah, and then Tuesday, Sean, you're going to stream Disaster Report 4.
Yes, 100%.
Brilliant. So Sean, this stream Disaster Report 4. That's all on Twitch, obviously. Twitch.tv/Community. If you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime. And with that, you get 1 free sub a month. So please think about going to our channel right now, this second, and linking your accounts and giving us that free sub. We'd love it. And Bezos would hate it if you gave it away. Hate it.
You would.
Obviously, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGS. Free, you get like exclusive podcasts. We're doing the Talks Over live for just patrons now. So if you want to interact with us and so on and so forth, do that. And it's thecomputergameshow.com for everything else.
200 shows. Thank you so much for your support throughout the years. Thank you so much to everyone that's watched us live on Twitch. Thanks to all our Patreon supporters, and thanks to anyone that listens. I never thought we'd get to 200 shows. This is crazy. We will. Thank you so much for living it. Hey, we will catch you next week. Love you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Take
Goodbye.
care, everyone.
Right, while we're here, let's do some thanks on the old Twitch front, because I think it'd be harsh for us not to. So I'll go down this.
Yeah, no. Look, we have a bit of a after chat, won't we?
Yeah.
Oh
so,
fuck!
yeah,
I was going to do a thing where I bollocks you all at the end, but you've ruined it by reminding us that we were on.
Oh, I
Twitch.
thought.
Go
Okay,
on.
right. I've as part of that little ruse, I've gone to the ending screen. Should I put it back on the other one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fine.
Wait, have you done it yet? Have you done it?
Yeah, well, I put us on the ending screen because it was going to be like a funny bit where it's like, oh, I've accidentally left the audio on. I thought that's what we were doing.
Oh right. Oh, I see.
Never mind.
Oh, fuck.
Hi, everyone.
Fuck,
We're back
Matt.
on.
We're going to do a funny bit where I bollocked everyone, but that's not happening now.
No.
I'm just exporting my audio. Hello, Twitch. How's it going?
Oh, yeah, I can stop recording, can't I?
Hello, everyone. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for watching, by the way. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go through some thanks. David Punk, thank you for the 500 bits. Thanks for chatting, JC Farley. Yeah, thanks, James, for being involved in the chat. Limity 1603, thanks for the sub. Jimity, Mr. Holy Moly, Colin Ross Wilson, Caswell Nick, got Radio Isaac, Devrock. Oh my god, we've got Green Man, Not Spaceship. Thank you ever so much for your sub. Amuse Frog, Ballerina Toshinden, 9 months, crazy run. Chris Ban, Birkin 99 has followed. Yitoki, Oodles a Dim, 15-month resub. Thank you ever so much. Ev Doki Kios, I'm definitely butchering that, but thank you for your sub anyway. Paulos 999, Conky Donker, Jay Williams 84,
Conky Donker, what a name.
I think we're done. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for your subs. All your
Yeah,
bits.
massively appreciated.
One thing that I did notice early on in the chat is that people were going, "Oh, this is a bit frosty, isn't it?" Like, and I just thought, is that because they're watching it live?
Maybe.
Because that's kind of what it's. I think that might have heightens it a little bit, because I guarantee when you listen back to it, it's not nowhere near as bad as you remember. But I think maybe it's because you're listening live that it seems like it's more spiky than normal. But that's what it feels like every week to me.
It certainly does. Yeah.
Like, for the record, we're all fucking around.
Yeah,
really
and to be clear,
serious.
James, just in case you actually thought I said you were fucking shit, I said games are fucking stupid, not James. Games.
I don't think I understood.
Yeah, that was good. No wonder James is always knackered. Good work, lads. No need to truncate that silence. I enjoyed it.
In Dead Space. How scary is Dead Space?
Pretty
It's
fucking scary,
but not. Yeah, it's not like Resident Evil 7 scary, but it's pretty scary. It might not be a bad choice.
We can't
actually.
do this every week, mate.
Nope.
It does feel that it's I don't know, you feel a little bit more tense.
It's fucking exhausting. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit more exhausting, and we're usually knackered enough as it is, so we can't do this every week. But we were glad that we got this run in for tonight. Definitely.
Yeah,
well
definitely.
done, Sean, on setting that all up, man.
No
That's
worries.
cool.
Matt, the Discord setup is fine. I think we just do this from now on rather than using Skype and the NDI shit.
Now I've now we've all reset audio settings. Yeah, James. Because James and I had so much trouble doing this, and we moved to Skype, and then fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
What are we wearing on our bottom halves?
I've just jeans.
Just stick out.
Same, yeah.
Yes. Matt, have you got shorts on?
Wearing suit trousers.
Hey,
you really?
you went all in.
Oh,
Fair dues, man.
Why wouldn't I?
I've just got some jeans on.
Same.
Comfortable.
Because I know a couple of people noted in the chat that I'm the only one still with my jacket on. Reason for that is didn't get time to iron my shirt, so this jacket's going nowhere. It's staying on.
I made sure I am this bad boy.
See that on the camera, are they?
Do you reckon? Should we have a look?
No,
Hang on, where's my,
it was getting really hot in here, so I just got to the point. I looked up and I saw how rosy my cheeks were on the stream, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" I better get that sorted.
You can sort of see it. Yeah, I probably would have got away with that. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Can anyone get away with the 2-button one? Because I certainly can't.
No, definitely not.
I see it in meetings all the time. People like turning up with 2 buttons undone, and I'm like, hold on, mate.
Yeah, do you think you
leave off?
You got a bit of twat for that.
I can't get away. Can't get away with that. It's weird.
Should I do it? I'm gonna do it.
Maybe ripped and all got a hairy chest, but come on.
I've got like a little tuft. Look at that, pathetic.
I couldn't expose anything. I'm like a bear.
I'm pretty hairy. I won't go that far.
Yeah. I'm
I don't even if you worked out, it's a bit like, put away your dickhead. It's just. It's just.
Sean can put it off. Look, Sean looks alright with 2 buttons undone.
I can't. 2 buttons is just like, okay, you're a twat. We get it. Okay. No. Even if you're ripped, it's just nah.
Yeah, it's excessive.
Let's see what other people are saying in the chat before we go to bed.
I mean, we'll answer them until James passes out.
Yeah.
I only drank the one bottle, actually.
Actually, I got his shirt out and it had the bar in, and then in the space of me taking it from the wardrobe to putting it on, I lost the bar.
This had bars and I've lost them as well.
I took the bolt off at the end. I was like, okay, brilliant. Take the bolt off, so I don't want to lose that. Took off the hanger. I was like, fuck, where's the bolt gone? Oh, so annoying.
Yeah, mine had the the little things that go in the collar to keep it. Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, must remember to take them out when I wash it. Nah, it's long gone. Don't know where
Did I tell you? I was in a meeting once with someone very important, but the person who was important that was giving the meeting, like standing up and presenting something, left the bit of cardboard in. That's around the collar.
What an idiot!
You could see the 2 bits of cardboard like sticking out, and I was fucking belly laughing. Like, I couldn't hold it in. It was Boris. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Sure, there's no pocket. No, the bar. I basically bought a shirt when we're doing like a sort of a. It wasn't Peaky Blinders. It's sort of like a. I don't know. It was like a. Oh, what's it called? You know, when the Americans could buy alcohol and then they could. It's basically
Prohibition.
Yeah, it's Prohibition thing. Like, yeah, so I bought like a thing. It had like a bar through this and like a hat and shit.
See, Matt, I think it looks more Handmaid's Tale, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, well annoyed.
Sean Thomas, I know, I feel your pain there. Yeah, Joe's seen me on Twitch watching people playing games before and just went, fucking hell, what are you doing? Yeah, I get absolutely hammered for that. So I feel your pain.
I think we've probably done, haven't we?
We probably could.
Probably call it a night.
Probably could stop.
Yeah, it's probably for the best, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, I'm fucking knackered.
What's that, Matt?
Could we raid someone that we care about?
Who's on?
I mean, has anyone got anyone on the list?
Raid Lee. He's doing his show, isn't he? Raid Ian Lee.
Is he?
Hasn't he got like enough people? I mean, let's see. Who's Ian Lee?
Yeah, he probably doesn't need our.
No, I mean like Gadget 8-bit. We're Gadget 8-bit streaming, and he's part of the community. I mean, Andy, why he'll just slag us off?
Yeah, saw that.
Yeah, don't do Andy.
Do that. We've done it before.
Gadget 8-bit then. Do Gadget 8-bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, we're doing no. We've done it before, and Andy's mugged us off. So why would he possibly do that? Right. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. Because last one did it. It went wrong. Doctor Disrespect. Good point. Yeah. We should do it.
He needs a bit of help.
Let's see if I can do this. Can I do it? Probably not.
Oh my God, Chod says that Andy banned him.
And Doodles? Why? What did you do to supposedly earn a banning?
He banned you because you probably dare mention sort of TCGS.
Yeah, it tends to be.
We're going to raid Gadget Abra, right?
Because
Gadget Abra is a listener. He's a cool dude. Let's all go in there and let's just say hello. And I'm sure he'll.
I have no idea how this works, by the way.
Yeah. Right. Everyone go in there, and thank you ever so much, by the way, also for watching the show. But let's go in there, let's watch him, let's say hello, let's follow him, and he'll massively appreciate him. We'll make his night. So let's do that.
What's going on here?
We're raiding someone.
We're raiding someone.
Basically, everyone now is going to go into another channel when I press this button. So everyone stay where you are. We're going to go to another channel. Let's get following. Let's go. I mean, we're still here. We can do what we want, can't we?
Yeah, I will just put the ending screen on and mute us. Bye, everyone.